Chapter 69. Half an hour later. Granny, we're here, Yi Fan said. What a strong spiritual energy. Jin Shan, who was in the red palanquin, said, the spiritual energy in Fengming Mountain surges to the sky, and there's even an extremely domineering yang energy in the spiritual energy. Could it be that in this mountain? It's my big brother, Yi Fan explained. Brother Kim cultivates pure yang energy. Granny Golden Silkworm was shocked. Granny, I'll lead the way. I'll go first. As Yi Fan spoke, he suddenly sped up and quickly arrived in front of the mountain. He brushed his hand against the mountain's stone door, and with a rumbling sound, the huge stone door opened. After the stone door opened, two familiar figures appeared in front of Yi Fan. The woman was Xiao Zhao, and the pale-faced scholar beside her was Brother Kim. Brother Kim, Xiao Zhao, Yi Fan said as he landed and floated into the cave. Brother Yi, Xiao Zhao said happily, you're finally back. Brother Yi. The pale-faced scholar smiled as he walked in front of Yi Fan and patted Yi Fan on the shoulder. You're finally back. Brother Kim, Xiao Zhao. Yi Fan asked, how is Chico? When he asked this, the pale-faced scholar and Xiao Zhao immediately frowned. How is she? Yi Fan asked anxiously when he saw their expressions. She's still unconscious, the pale-faced scholar said. I've temporarily sealed all her blood vessels, and we're just waiting for you. Brother Yi, Xiao Zhao asked, where's Jin Shan? She's here, the pale-faced scholar said as he stared outside the cave. As soon as the pale-faced scholar finished speaking, Jin Shan's red palanquin broke through the white fog and floated towards the Lingyun cave. This, Xiao Zhao said, is the person in the sedan chair Jin Shan? After saying that, Yi Fan turned around and walked to the entrance of the cave to receive the red palanquin. The big red palanquin slowed down and slowly landed in front of the cave entrance. Then, the curtain of the palanquin was lifted, and a person walked out with a bent back. However, the person who walked out was no longer the senile granny, but a middle-aged woman who looked to be in her 30s. She wore a Miao Yin Phoenix hairpin on her head, an embroidered robe with 100 flowers on it, and a pair of white shoes with broken flowers on the bottom. Her beautiful eyes were like the stars and the moon, her skin was like cream, and her lips were red and her teeth were white. She carried a green bamboo basket on her back. She had a beautiful figure and a dignified appearance. He slowly walked towards the three of them. This you. Yi Fan was flabbergasted. He didn't understand why the Jin Shan in the palanquin suddenly changed her appearance. The middle-aged woman looked at the dumbfounded Yi Fan and smiled. What's wrong? Don't you recognize Granny? You. How did you become? Yi Fan looked at the charming woman in front of him and couldn't believe his eyes. This is who I really am. Jin Shan looked at the pale-faced scholar and said, this place is full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. How can I be rude? Ji-chan, I am Xiao Zhao. Greetings. Xiao Zhao said and made a salute. Jin Shan looked at Xiao Zhao from head to toe and nodded to Xiao Zhao with a smile. Thank you for your trouble, Jin Shan. The pale-faced scholar cupped his fists and bowed to Jin Shan. Granny, please help my sworn brother no matter what. I wouldn't dare. Jin Shan quickly returned the courtesy to the pale-faced scholar and said, you can call me Jin Shan. Granny, please come inside. Xiao Zhao said and walked in front to lead the way. A group of 4 people walked into the cave. Yi Fan and Jin Shan walked side by side, while the pale-faced scholar walked at the back. It's really a paradise. Jin Shan looked at the scenery in the cave and sighed sincerely. The group of 4 people walked across the stone bridge, bypassed several doors, and arrived at the back garden. As soon as they entered the garden, a huge stone bed came into everyone's sight. The stone bed was covered with a white curtain, and there were 2 stone stoves in front and behind it. The stoves were burning with charcoal. Chico. Yi Fan quickly walked to the bed and opened the curtain. Fujiwara no Chico's beautiful eyes were closed, and she was lying flat on the stone bed. Her black hair was scattered like a waterfall, as if she was asleep. Sworn brother, the pale-faced scholar said to Yi Fan, let Jin Shan take a look first. If you don't mind, you can call me Sister Jin Shan. Jin Shan said to the pale-faced scholar, I really can't afford it. The pale-faced scholar was stunned for a moment, and then said with a smile, "Okay, Sister Jinshan." Jinshan nodded. "Granny, please sit down," Yi Fan said and moved aside. He moved a stone stool in front of the bed and invited Jinshan to sit down. After Jinshan sat down, she first took Fujiwara no Chico's pulse and then looked at her mouth and nose. After that, she frowned and didn't speak. "How is it, Granny?" Yi Fan anxiously asked. "It really is the yin yang gu," Jinshan said to the pale-faced scholar. "If it weren't for you sealing her divine bloodline, or if I came 2 hours later, even if Wata'a was alive, or BNK was reborn, I'm afraid they wouldn't be able to save her." "Do you mean that she can still be saved?" Yi Fan asked nervously after hearing that. Jinshan nodded. "That's great." After Yi Fan heard this, the stone in his heart fell to the ground. "But," Jinshan wanted to say something, but stopped. "But what?" Yi Fan saw that Jinshan wanted to say something, but stopped and hurriedly asked, "Is this woman married?" Jinshan looked at Yi Fan and asked. "Not married," Yi Fan replied. He didn't understand why Jinshan asked this. The pale-faced scholar and Xiao Zhao were also full of doubts. "This is difficult," Jinshan said. "To detoxify this poison, you need to plant another yin yang gu in a man, and then..." "Then what?" Yi Fan hurriedly asked. "Granny, please say it. The two have intercourse?" The pale-faced scholar asked. Jinshan nodded. "This..." Yi Fan heard this and was at a loss. He didn't know what to do. "How about this?" Jinshan said. "I will temporarily suppress the poison in her body and let her wake up. After she wakes up, let her make her own decision. What do you think?" The middle-aged woman said to Yi Fan. "Granny," Xiao Zhao asked, "how long can you suppress the poison?" "At most 3 days." Jinshan said. "Within 3 days, the poison must be detoxified, otherwise." "Brother Yi," the pale-faced scholar said to Yi Fan, "you decide." Yi Fan looked at Fujiwara no Chico, who was lying in front of him with her eyes closed, and said with a frown, "Now that things have come to this, this is the only way." "That's good," Jinshan said. "I will now cast a spell to suppress the poison in her body." After saying that, she took out a square bamboo box from the basket behind her. The box was the size of a palm and was wrapped with 5 colored threads. "Go get a basin of water," Jinshan said. Xiao Zhao responded and turned to get the water. Jinshan reached out and opened the square bamboo box. Inside the box was a large piece of emerald green mulberry leaf. After she removed the leaf, a silkworm as thick as a thumb was lying motionless on the leaf in the box. What was even more surprising was that this silkworm had 5 colors. "5-colored silkworm king," the pale-faced scholar said. "It seems that I can't hide anything from you." Jinshan smiled and gently touched the 5-colored silkworm with her finger. "Don't sleep. I have something important to do." After the silkworm was touched by Jinshan, its fat body moved slightly. It raised its head slowly and reluctantly and looked at Jinshan. This little bug could actually understand human language. At this time, Xiao Zhao had already brought the water and placed the basin next to the middle-aged woman. Looking at the 5-colored silkworm in front of her, Xiao Zhao was also shocked. "Silkworm King." Jinshan smiled. "As expected, Abaihu, you are indeed experienced and knowledgeable." Xiao Zhao was shocked when she heard this. She quickly turned to look at Yi Fan. She thought that Yi Fan had told Jinshan about her, but when she saw Yi Fan's surprised expression, she instantly understood that Yi Fan had not revealed her identity. To be able to see through her identity at a glance, this Jinshan was really not simple. Yi Fan was also surprised. When he saw Xiao Zhao looking at him, he did not know how to explain. He wanted to tell Xiao Zhao that he did not reveal her identity, but because Jinshan was present, he could not say it. However, at this time, Xiao Zhao suddenly smiled. Granny has discerning eyes. Xiao Zhao is ashamed of her inferiority. "Silly child," Jinshan said with a smile. "Granny is straightforward and has no other meaning. Don't think too much about it." After hearing this, Xiao Zhao smiled and stood next to the pale-faced scholar. "Granny," Yi Fan said, "do you need help?" "No need." As Jinshan said this, she reached out and gently placed the Silkworm King and its leaves in the basin. The leaves immediately floated on the water surface. Then, something magical happened. The water in the basin, which was so clear that one could see the bottom, instantly turned emerald green after touching the leaves. The Silkworm King wriggled its fat body and slowly wriggled to the edge of the leaves. Then, it plunged into the emerald green water and began to drink. Everyone was attracted by this scene and lowered their heads to watch the Silkworm King drink. Only the pale-faced scholar stood there with a smile on his face and looked at Jinshan without saying a word. After the time it took to burn an incense stick, the five-colored Silkworm King still had no intention of stopping. It still plunged into the water and continued to drink. At this time, it had drunk more than half of the water in the basin. Its body had also become several times bigger. It was originally as thick as a thumb, but now it was as thick as a baby's arm. The leaf it was on had gradually melted, leaving only a small piece. After another 15 minutes, the Silkworm King finally drank all the water in the basin. Its body had also become as thick as an adult's arm. At this time, the Silkworm King was lying motionlessly in the basin. At the same time, Yifan discovered that the leaf it was on had disappeared without a trace. It must have completely melted in the water, Yifan thought to himself. Why are you sleeping again? Jinshan poked the Silkworm King in the basin with her finger. You can sleep after you finish your business. The Silkworm King in the basin did not even raise its head this time. It turned its head and looked at Jinshan. Then its body began to squirm on the spot. As the Silkworm King squirmed, the five colors on its body began to fuse slowly, turning into a golden color. Furthermore, the golden color became more and more intense. Finally, it began to emit a faint golden glow. That's more like it. As Jinshan spoke, she reached out and pulled out the silver hairpin on her head. She placed it beside the Silkworm King's mouth that was emitting golden light. As the golden color on the Silkworm King's body flowed, it slowly opened its mouth. A golden thread slowly spat out from its mouth and wrapped around the silver hairpin. Jinshan was spitting out silk. Yifan finally understood why the middle-aged woman was called Jinshan. As the Silkworm King constantly spat out golden threads, its body began to shrink. When its body returned to the thickness of a thumb, the Silkworm King stopped spitting out silk. The golden glow on its body also gradually disappeared as it returned to its original appearance. At this moment, the silver hairpin had more than 10 rings of golden threads wrapped around it. The golden glow was extremely dazzling. After the Silkworm King finished spitting out silk, it seemed to be very tired. It lay motionless in the basin. The golden silkworm immediately picked up the Silkworm King gently with one hand and reached into the bamboo basket with the other hand. It took out a very fat mulberry leaf and placed it back into the box before placing the Silkworm King gently on the mulberry leaf. Granny, Yifan asked, is the Silkworm King all right? He knew that after a silkworm spat out silk, its life would come to an end. It's fine. This fellow is just pretending, Jinshan said with a smile. It's just tired. It'll be fine after some rest. When the Silkworm King on the leaf heard this, it slowly raised its head and turned to look at Jinshan. Then it lay down heavily on the leaf and did not move. Jinshan smiled as she closed the box and placed it back into the bamboo basket. Then, she lifted Fujiwara no Chico's arm with her left hand and picked up the silver hairpin with her right hand. She pointed it at Fujiwara no Chico's meridian point and pierced it. Chapter 70. As soon as the golden thread entered her body, the complexion of Fujiwara no Chico, who was lying on the bed, immediately became rosy. Her originally very pale face also began to regain some color. Chico! Chico! Yifan saw this and quickly shouted. Fujiwara no Chico, who was lying on the bed, heard this and her fingers moved slightly. A pair of beautiful eyes slowly opened. Chico is awake, Yifan said happily. Xiao Zhao and the pale-faced scholar beside him also smiled. Where am I? Fujiwara no Chico asked in an extremely weak voice. She had just woken up and suddenly found herself surrounded by so many people. Apart from Yi Fan, she did not recognize anyone else. As she thought about this, she tried to get up but found that she did not have any strength and could not move at all. Chico, you have been unconscious for several days and did not drink a drop of water. Now that you have just woken up, do not rush to move. Yi Fan said loudly. They're all good people. They will not hurt you. In order to save you, it is all thanks to them. Fujiwara no Chico heard this and quickly nodded to the crowd. Thank you very much for saving me. Chico has troubled everyone. Let me introduce you. Yi Fan introduced one by one. This is my adopted brother Kim. This is my adopted sister Xiao Zhao. And this is your savior, Jin Shan. This time, if not for Granny's help, I am afraid that you would have. Chinzi will never forget everyone's kindness. Fujiwara no Chico was about to get up again, but was stopped by Xiao Zhao. Sister, there is no need to be so polite. You are very weak now. Lie on the bed and rest well. I will go get you some food to replenish your strength. After saying this, she turned and left. You should have a good rest and eat more light food. Jinshan said to Fujiwara no Chico, clear your stomach first. Granny, thank you for saving my life. Chico will definitely repay you in the future, Fujiwara no Chico said. Silly boy, I'm not the one who put in the most effort this time. Jinshan looked at Yi Fan with a smile. He's the one who's the most tired. After he finished speaking, he stood up and looked at the pale-faced scholar. Brother Kim, this place has beautiful mountains and clear waters. It's a completely different world. Can you show me around? The pale-faced scholar faintly smiled. Little sister, what are you saying? Although this immortal's cave belongs to my sworn brother, I can still make this decision. After he finished speaking, the pale-faced scholar looked at Yi Fan and said, you two chat first. I'll take little sister Jinshan out for a walk. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left with Jinshan. Yi Fan understood that the two of them were giving him some time alone with Fujiwara no Chico. He was the only one who was most suitable to explain the detoxification to Fujiwara no Chico. What happened after I fainted? Fujiwara no Chico looked at Yi Fan, who had lost a lot of weight, and asked. At this time, Yi Fan was much thinner than before. His face was sallow, and his face looked haggard. You should have a good rest first. After you finish eating, I'll slowly tell you. Yi Fan looked at Fujiwara no Chico's pale face and said in a distressed voice. Fujiwara no Chico nodded. After a while, Xiao Zhao brought a bowl of steaming white rice porridge to the bed. The fragrance of the rice immediately filled the air. Brother Yi, porridge. Xiao Zhao placed the porridge on the stone table. Little sister Chico, eat more. Thank you, big sister Xiao Zhao. Fujiwara no Chico expressed her gratitude. Xiao Zhao smiled. Brother Yi, you two talk. I'll go check on Brother Kim and Granny. She turned around and prepared to leave. Thank you for taking care of Chico these days. Yi Fan said to Xiao Zhao. Brother Yi doesn't know how to thank you. He was telling the truth. Ever since he left the Lingyun cave, Xiao Zhao had been wiping Fujiwara no Chico's body every day. She had never left. Brother Yi, Xiao Zhao said with a smile. No wonder Brother Kim scolded you. You're too polite. Since I call you big brother, and you call me little sister, isn't it natural for a little sister to share her brother's burdens? With that said, she smiled and left. But when she turned around, her face was full of sadness. 2 streams of tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. Come, eat the porridge while it's hot. It'll get cold. Yi Fan helped Fujiwara no Chico sit up. He then picked up the bowl of porridge and scooped a spoonful. He placed it near his mouth and gently blew on it. After he was done, he brought the porridge to Fujiwara no Chico's mouth. Fujiwara no Chico opened her small mouth and ate the porridge that Yi Fan fed her. I can see that she likes you, Fujiwara no Chico said as she ate the porridge. Who? Yi Fan, who was holding the bowl of porridge, asked Fujiwara no Chico in confusion. Xiao Zhao, Fujiwara no Chico replied. Don't talk nonsense, Yi Fan said as he fed Fujiwara no Chico. Didn't I tell you? She's my adopted sister. I saved her in my previous life. Are you really stupid, or are you pretending to be stupid? Fujiwara no Chiko swallowed the porridge in her mouth. If she doesn't like you, why would she cry? Cry? Yifan asked in confusion. Yes. When? Yifan asked. Just now. Fujiwara no Chiko said, when I turned around and left. Nonsense. Yifan said, why would she cry? Why would I lie to you? Fujiwara no Chiko said, I saw her when she was at the door. This girl, I'll ask her later, Yifan said. Girl. Fujiwara no Chiko laughed. Did you forget? She's by who? She's hundreds of years old. She's still a girl. Yifan stuffed the porridge into Fujiwara no Chiko's mouth again. Do you like her? Fujiwara no Chiko, who was eating the porridge, suddenly asked. Again, she's my sister. Do you understand? Wife. Yifan said with a smile. You. Fujiwara no Chiko's face turned red again after hearing this. Who's your wife? Oh, you don't recognize your husband so soon, Yifan said with a smile. Didn't you enjoy listening to me at that time? After Fujiwara no Chiko heard this, she stared at Yifan angrily. Wife, don't be angry. If you're angry, you won't be able to detoxify the poison, Yifan said with a smile. I know I was wrong. Detoxify? Fujiwara no Chiko immediately frowned after hearing Yifan's words. My poison was detoxified by Jinshan just now, right? This. Yifan realized that he had let it slip. Originally, he planned to tell Fujiwara no Chiko after she fully recovered her strength. Now, it seemed that he could only tell her the truth. Is it because my poison was not detoxified? Fujiwara no Chiko asked calmly. Yes. Yifan replied. There's no cure. Fujiwara no Chiko asked. There is a way, but... Yifan thought about how to tell her. But what? Fujiwara no Chiko asked again. The bridal chamber. Yifan looked at Fujiwara no Chiko and said, WH. What? Fujiwara no Chiko stammered. Bridal chamber? Yes, the bridal chamber. Yifan then told her everything that happened after Fujiwara no Chiko fainted. After Fujiwara no Chiko listened, she didn't say a word. She sat on the bed in a daze. Yifan had already expected that Fujiwara no Chiko would have such an expression, so he didn't say anything and just sat quietly with Fujiwara no Chiko. Forget it. Yifan broke the silence. He put down the bowl of porridge. I'll ask Brother Kim and Jinshan if there's any other way. If there's no other way, I'll capture Matsumoto Takeyoshi and force him to detoxify the poison. Yifan stood up and prepared to leave. No need. Fujiwara no Chiko, who was leaning on the bed, calmly said, Matsumoto Takeyoshi has many experts around him, and his whereabouts are unpredictable. You might not even be able to find him in 3 days. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yifan and said, Sit down, I have something to ask you. Yifan listened and sat on the bed again. Do you like me? Fujiwara no Chiko suddenly asked. Tell me the truth. Yifan was stunned. He didn't expect Fujiwara no Chiko to suddenly ask him this question. Answer me. Do you like me or don't you like me? Fujiwara no Chiko stared at Yifan's surprised face and asked again. I like you. Since things had come to this, Yifan could only answer truthfully. How much do you like me? Fujiwara no Chiko lowered her head. I'm willing to die for you, Yifan said calmly. Really? Fujiwara no Chiko raised her head after hearing this. Her eyes were full of tears. After Yifan told her about his experience in Miaojiang, she understood Yifan's feelings for her. Although Yifan said it very casually, she knew in her heart that Yifan must not eat or sleep for her. Otherwise, how could he become so thin in just a few days? Yifan whispered. He seemed to have understood Fujiwara no Chiko's intention. Chapter 71. The next evening, the red wedding candles illuminated the room as bright as day. The big red she character was pasted on the stone wall, creating a joyous atmosphere. The huge stone table was filled with sumptuous food and wine. 13 huge stone chairs were lined up on both sides. Under the flickering candlelight, Yifan, who was dressed in a red robe, was overjoyed. Fujiwara no Chiko, who was wearing a phoenix coronet and a wedding gown, was bashful. The pale-faced scholar with a calm expression, Jin Shan with a complicated mood, Xiao Zhao with a forced smile, and Yi Kong and Yi Yun with a heavy heart sat around the stone table. After the two of them received Yi Fan's messenger pigeon, they immediately rushed here without stopping. It was a joyous occasion for their grandchildren to get married. However, Yi Yun and Yi Kong could not feel happy at this moment. It was not that they felt that Fujiwara no Chiko was not worthy of Yi Fan. It was just that she was from Japan, an outsider. If she married Yi Fan would not have the qualifications to compete for the position of the head of the Yi family in the future. When they thought of this, the father and son felt as if a fishbone was stuck in their throats. Especially Yi Yun, when he saw his beloved Jin Shan sitting in front of him, he thought of the days he spent with Jin Shan. He also thought of his father's last wish that prevented the two of them from getting married. Yi Yun's heart was filled with mixed feelings. He picked up his wine cup and took a big gulp. Jin Shan was the same. The man she loved was right in front of her, as if it was just yesterday. When she thought of how she had been alone for the past few decades, tossing and turning every day without sleep, Jin Shan also had mixed feelings. She also picked up her wine cup and drank by herself. The pale-faced scholar's face was calm, and it was hard to tell whether he was happy or unhappy. He looked at the pair of beautiful women in front of him, as if he was thinking about some past events. The one who was the most upset was Xiao Zhao. Ever since Brother Kim told her that he had found Eldritch's reincarnation, she had been waiting day and night for Brother Yi in Lingyun Cave. He thought that his happiness was right in front of him, but who would have thought that Fujiwara no Chiko would suddenly appear halfway? Although she was now Baihu, she had already cultivated into a human body. She was kind by nature and did not show any sadness. Instead, she stood up with a smile and poured wine for everyone present. She was already trying her best to hide it. Other than the pale-faced scholar and Yi Fan, no one knew that she had cried for an entire night in the full moon pavilion at the peak of Fengming Mountain. Even when she was cooking in the kitchen, she was crying. Among everyone present, other than Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chiko, everyone had their own thoughts. For a moment, the atmosphere was somewhat awkward. Brother Yi, the pale-faced scholar, broke the silence. He stood up and picked up his wine cup. Today is your big day. I wish you two a happy and happy couple. I wish you two a happy and happy life. After he finished speaking, he downed the wine in his cup. Thank you, big brother, Yi Fan said as he also raised his cup. Chico is poisoned and cannot drink. Today, I will drink on her behalf. After speaking, he drank 2 cups of wine in succession. Yi Fan actually understood the distress of everyone present. His father, Yi Kong, and grandfather, Yi Yun, hoped that he could inherit the Yi clan in the future. Jin Shan felt complicated after seeing Yi Yun, and Brother Kim originally wanted to matchmake him and Xiao Zhao. As for Xiao Zhao, in fact, when he first met Xiao Zhao, he already understood Xiao Zhao's feelings for him. Last night, he had been meditating. Because he had completely recovered his spiritual power, his 5 senses were abnormally sharp. He could clearly hear Xiao Zhao's heart-wrenching cries on the peak of Fengming Mountain. He really wanted to go up and comfort her, but he knew that if he comforted her, it would be counterproductive. Now, the best thing to do was to pretend to be confused. Perhaps after he and Fujiwara no Chiko were married, Xiao Zhao would give up. Fan Air, Granny also salutes you. Jin Shan also stood up and raised her glass. Although you and Granny have only known each other for a few days, you have a good temper. Granny wishes the two of you to grow old together and be united forever. After speaking, she drank the wine in one gulp. Yi Fan is eternally grateful for Granny's life-saving grace, Yi Fan said as he drank 2 more cups. The wine in the glass was the 100 flowers drunk that Eldritch had brewed in the past. In addition, the glass was not small. After drinking 4 cups, he was already a little drunk and his face was flushed. He took the wine jug and filled the 2 cups. Then, he raised the cup and walked in front of Xiao Zhao. Little sister Xiao Zhao, Yi Fan said drunkenly, Brother Yi salutes you. As he spoke, his body swayed, and he almost fell. Xiao Zhao hurriedly supported Yi Fan. Brother Yi, you drank too much. Ha ha ha. Yi Fan waved his hand. Brother Yi is not drunk. Big brother Yi, I'm sorry. After Yi Fan said this, he suddenly drank the wine in his hand in one gulp. Then, he drank another cup. Brother Yi. Xiao Zhao looked at Yi Fan with heartache. After a moment, she also drank the wine in her hand. 2 drops of tears flowed from the corners of her eyes and disappeared in an instant. She did not want others to see her tears, so she used a spell to hide them. After Yi Fan finished drinking, he staggered and turned around. He faced Yi Yun and Yi Kong and knelt on the ground with a thud. Yi Yun and Yi Kong were silent. Grandfather, father, Yi Fan said. Yi Fan is unfilial. He married a woman from another clan and let you down. After speaking, he kowtowed 3 times. After that, he raised his head and said, It doesn't matter if the Yi clan doesn't have Yi Fan, but if Chico doesn't have Yi Fan, her life will be in danger. Most importantly, I really like her. Yi Kong and Yi Yin could not sit still anymore. They stood up and helped Yi Fan up. Fan Air, don't say anymore. Today is your big day. Let's put aside the rules. Today can only be described in one word. Happy. Yi Kong understood Yi Fan's feelings. Come. Yi Kong raised his wine cup. Let's drink together. Fan Air. Yin also raised his wine cup. You're better than grandfather. Live happily. Cheers. The 3 of them drank the wine in one gulp. After that, they laughed loudly. The awkward atmosphere from before was instantly swept away. Brother Jean, you're really not kind. Why didn't you tell me about such a big, happy occasion? Just as everyone was about to eat, a young man's voice suddenly came from outside the door. As soon as he finished speaking, a white-robed scholar appeared at the door with a smile. Ha! The pale-faced scholar laughed and stood up. Brother Bai, why didn't you stay in the sky? What are you doing here? Don't tell me you've also been hooked by this 100 flowers drunk. Aren't you afraid of breaking the rules of the heavens by coming down to the lower realm without permission? Ha ha! Brother Jean, what are you saying? The white-robed scholar slowly walked towards a stone table. No matter what, I've received so many years of incense from the Yi clan. Furthermore, the person holding the wedding is Brother Jin's sworn brother. How can I not come to support? Grandfather, father. Yi Fan saw that the sky dragon had personally arrived, so he quickly stood up and said to Yi Yun and Yi Kong, This is the benefactor that our Yi clan has worshipped for generations. Chapter 72. Yi Yun is being impolite. I didn't know that my benefactor would come in person. Please forgive me, said Yi Yun. Well, the scholar in white helped the 3 of them up hastily. I'm here to attend the wedding banquet as old Jin's friend. You don't have to be so courteous. Don't be so formal. The 3 of them nodded hastily. Jin Chan had a discerning eye. Back when she was with Yi Yun, she had heard Yi Yun mention that the Yi family worshipped the sky dragon. As such, she stood up and bowed, saying, Greetings, Immortal Bai. The Immortal Bai was just right, but she couldn't call him the sky dragon. The scholar in white nodded with a smile. Though Xiao Zhao hadn't seen this sky dragon before, she had learned about the story of this sky dragon's cultivation for Brother Kim. Since Brother Kim and this sky dragon have been good friends for many years, she also stood up and bowed, saying, Greetings, Big Brother Bai. Since she was called Brother Kim by the scholar, she could only call the sky dragon Big Brother Bai. The sky dragon said with a smile, You must be Xiao Zhao. I've heard Brother Jean mention you. You're indeed a beauty. Xiao Zhao didn't say anything with a smile. Chico. Yi Fan pulled Fujiwara no Chico to his side. Come and greet your benefactor. Chico greets my benefactor, said Fujiwara no Chico as she was about to kneel down to greet the sky dragon. The bride is too courteous. The sky dragon in white helped Fujiwara no Chico up hastily. Brother Jean is my good friend, and Yi Fan is Brother Jin's sworn younger brother. Since you're Brother Jin's sworn younger brother, you're my sworn younger brother as well. You're my sister-in-law from now on. Am I right, Brother Jean? Ha ha! The scholar in white clapped his hands and laughed out loud. Well said. Come on, don't just stand there. Let's take our seats. The group took their seats hastily. The sky dragon sat by the scholar in white. Come, the pale-faced scholar raised his wine cup and said, Today is my sworn brother's big day. Let's toast him and his wife together. After hearing this, everyone quickly raised their wine glasses and greeted Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chiko. I, Yi Fan, am not worthy of your love. Yi Fan quickly stood up and said, Today, I thank you on behalf of Chiko. Cheers! Cheers! Everyone gulped down the wine in their cups. Ha ha ha, awesome. The pale-faced scholar smiled and said, Today is your brother Ye's big day. I don't have anything to give you. As he spoke, he took out an ancient book from his bosom. The book was overflowing with an ancient aura. One look, and one could tell that it was an ancient item. The pale-faced scholar opened the book and directly tore a page from it. Then, he put the ancient book back into his bosom. Everyone was puzzled, but Sky Dragon's expression changed. Brother Yi, this is the Qi cultivation method of the Xintian secrets. Today, I'll give it to you as a congratulatory gift. As the pale-faced scholar spoke, he gently flung the page he tore from the ancient book. The page flew lightly to the stone table in front of Yi Fan. Xintian secrets? Yi Fan picked up the piece of paper in front of him and saw that it was densely filled with small, ancient characters. Thank you, big brother, Yi Fan said. The pale-faced scholar smiled and nodded. Brother Jean is so generous. The white-robed sky dragon smiled and said, Even the heavenly court has never recorded this Xintian secrets. I didn't expect Brother Jean to have a secret manual that even I didn't know about. The pale-faced scholar smiled and said, Doesn't the heavenly court have the Big Dipper pivot? How could you be interested in something like this? Brother Jean really knows how to joke, Sky Dragon said with a smile. This Xintian secrets is an ancient secret manual. It doesn't lose to the Big Dipper pivot. There are even some secret techniques that are not recorded in the Big Dipper pivot. As he spoke, he turned to Yi Fan. Fan, you are so lucky. You have to practice hard in the future. Yi Fan nodded in fear and trepidation. He was not the only one. Everyone present, except for Sky Dragon and the pale-faced scholar, was shocked. A secret manual that even the heavenly court did not have. Its power could be imagined. Old White, you are a member of the heavenly court. You can't attend this wedding banquet for nothing. The pale-faced scholar put his arm around Sky Dragon's shoulder and said with a smile, You have to do something. Of course. Sky Dragon laughed and said, But I can't compare to you, Old Gold. I don't have any secret manuals. As he said that, he took out a wooden box that was half a foot long. The wooden box was extremely thin, less than an inch thick. As the white-robed Sky Dragon gently opened the box, a gentle white light came out of the box. A white silk fabric lay quietly inside the wooden box. Flawless Taoist robe. This time, it was the pale-faced scholar's turn to be shocked. Old Gold has good eyesight. Sky Dragon said, I used a crimson dragon pearl to exchange for this flawless Taoist robe from Fairy Fei home. It took me a lot of persuasion before she agreed to knit one. Today, I will give this robe to you, Fan. With that said, he gently pushed with his finger, and the wooden box slid in front of Yi Fan. Thank you, benefactor. Yi Fan hurriedly thanked him. Sky Dragon smiled and nodded. Brother Yi, this flawless Taoist robe is no ordinary item. The pale-faced scholar said, This robe is as light as a feather. It is invulnerable to swords and spears, impervious to water and fire. It is an immortal item. Do you know why Old White used a crimson dragon pearl to obtain this robe? It is because this robe has a great advantage. The pale-faced scholar deliberately kept him in suspense. You will know when you wear it in the future. After Yi Fan heard that, he thanked the white-robed heavenly dragon again. Fan, I am not like the two immortals, and I came in a hurry. I don't have anything to give you. Jean Chan, who was sitting opposite Yi Yun, said, I have a pair of green beetles here. I will give them to you and your wife. With that said, she took out a small, delicate bamboo tube from the bamboo basket beside her and handed it to Yi Fan. Green beetles? Sky Dragon was shocked. Could it be? That's right. It should be the legendary green beetles. The pale-faced scholar said, I didn't expect Sister Jean Shan to have such a thing. Brother Kim, you must be joking. Jean Shan said. You call him Big Brother Jean. It seems that I have one more sister now. The white-robed heavenly dragon laughed. Then I will call you Brother White from now on. Jean Shan toasted Sky Dragon, and the two looked at each other and smiled. These green beetles are a match made in heaven. They are inseparable in life and death. Jean Shan put down the wine glass and said to Yi Fan, if the two of you go out, each of you can take one with you. Even if you're thousands of miles away, these green beetles can find each other. Yi Fan thanked again. Brother Yi, I also have a gift for you. Xiao Zhao said as she stood up and came in front of Yi Fan. She took out a brocade box and handed it to Yi Fan. There's a pair of dragon and phoenix jade pendants inside. Brother Yi, you gave it to me in your previous life. I have kept it for many years. Now that you and Sister Chico are married, I will use this opportunity to give you and sister-in-law this pair of dragon and phoenix jade pendants. This. Yi Fan opened the brocade box. A pair of dazzling and lifelike dragon and phoenix jade pendants quietly lay inside. Don't be like this. Take it. Xiao Zhao smiled. Take it. The pale-faced scholar said, Xiao Zhao's kind intentions. Yi Fan had no choice but to accept it. Thank you, Sister Xiao Zhao. Fujiwara no Chico said to Xiao Zhao. Don't call me sister. You will be my sister-in-law in the future. Xiao Zhao said with a smile. She then turned around and returned to her seat. Fan Air, you are really lucky to have so many good friends. Yi Yun said, I don't have anything good to give. Yi Yun said as he took out a banknote from his bosom and handed it to Fujiwara no Chico. You are now the daughter-in-law of the Yi family. If Yi Fan dares to bully you in the future, just tell me and I will teach him a lesson. This little money is the betrothal gift of the Yi family. I hope you don't mind. Fujiwara no Chico took the banknote and looked at it. She couldn't help but be shocked. On the banknote was written 200,000 taels of gold. This. Fujiwara no Chico saw so much money for the first time. She looked at Yi Fan and didn't know whether to accept it or not. Take it, Yi Fan said. At this time, Yi Kong also stood up and came to Yi Fan. He handed a box in his hand to Fujiwara no Chico. I wish you a happy marriage for 100 years. Fujiwara no Chico took the box and opened it. Unexpectedly, there was a jade dagger inside. The dagger, including the scabbard, was carved from a whole piece of jade. It was emerald green and extremely delicate. Thank you, Uncle Yi. Thank you, Grandpa Yi. Fujiwara no Chico quickly thanked. Still calling me Uncle, Yi Kong said with a smile. Father, Grandpa. Fujiwara no Chico called out with a red face. Chapter 73. The wedding banquet lasted for 4 hours and still wasn't over. While toasting, Jean Shan pulled Yi Fan aside and handed a pill the size of a grain of rice to Yi Fan. Fan Air, Jean Shan said with a smile, this is the goo worm I made. Take it now and take the bride to the bridal chamber. Yi Fan responded and swallowed the pill Jean Shan handed over with a red face. He thought that he would feel uncomfortable after swallowing the goo worm, but he felt refreshed after swallowing it, and his drunkenness was swept away. This pill, Yi Fan didn't understand. Silly child. Jean Shan was slightly drunk at this time, but her smile was like a flower. I put some hangover medicine in it. Otherwise, how can you detoxify it? Yi Fan's face turned red after hearing this. After Jean Shan finished speaking, she walked back to the stone table and nodded to the white-faced scholar who was drinking in high spirits. The white-faced scholar immediately understood and stood up, saying, Everyone, it's getting late. It's time for the couple to enter the bridal chamber. Today, everyone is staying in the Lingyun cave. I'll play host on behalf of my sworn brother. Fan Air, old Jean is right. You take Chico to rest early. The white-robed sky dragon said with a smile. Yi Fan nodded and bowed to everyone. Then, he took the red-faced Fujiwara no Chico upstairs. Brother Kim, brother by Uncle Yi, mother-in-law, take your time drinking. Xiao Zhao stood up and said, I'm not good at drinking and have a headache. I'll go back to my room first. Sorry for being rude. It's okay, the white-faced scholar said. Xiao Zhao, you go rest first. I'm here. He knew in his heart that Xiao Zhao's cultivation was not low, so this little bit of wine was nothing to her. However, the person she loved was already someone else, so when Xiao Zhao returned to her room, she would definitely cry. After Xiao Zhao stood up and greeted everyone, she slowly went upstairs with a dull look in her eyes. After another hour, the wedding banquet finally came to an end. The after effects of the 100 Flowers drunkenness were extremely strong. Yikong was not a drinker, but at this time, his head was already heavy, so he got up and excused himself, returning upstairs to rest. At this time, only the pale-faced scholar, Sky Dragon, Jin Shan, and Yi Yun were left at the stone table. Needless to say, Sky Dragon and the pale-faced scholar were not mortals. A mere 100 Blossom drunk would not be able to do anything to them. Jin Shan, on the other hand, was well-versed in medicine. Coupled with her special ability, she was still sober even after drinking a few cups of 100 Flowers drunk. Yi Yun, on the other hand, usually liked to drink. Coupled with the fact that his former lover was sitting next to him, even though his cultivation was not low, his face was only slightly red. Old Jean, the white-robed sky dragon, said, "This Fengming mountain is indeed worthy of its reputation. I'm sick of the scenery in the heavenly court. Today is a rare opportunity. Why don't you accompany me around?" The pale-faced scholar looked up to the sky and laughed. "How is it? You must be bored in the heavenly court. All right, I'll bring you around." With that, he said to Jin Shan, "You two drink first. I'll bring Olbai around." With that, he picked up a pot of wine and left with the white-robed sky dragon. "Brother Kim, Jean." Before Jin Shan could finish speaking, the pale-faced scholar and the white-robed sky dragon had already disappeared into thin air. Only the two of them were left. Since the two of them met, they had not spoken a word. Now that they were sitting opposite each other, it was extremely awkward. The two of them did not speak for a long time. Jin Shan stood up and prepared to leave. "You still hate me?" Yi Yun, who was sitting on the stone chair, opened his mouth and broke the silence. He picked up the wine pot and filled his cup to the brim. Then, he tilted his head back and drank it all. Jin Shan, who had already stood up and was about to leave, stopped in her tracks. However, she did not turn around. "I do." Jin Shan gritted her teeth and said, "I wish I could kill you with my sword. If you want to kill me, feel free to come and find me." Yi Yun continued to pour wine into his cup. "I won't fight back. However, I can't die yet. When the Yi family has a new head, you can do whatever you want of me." Jin Shan frowned after hearing that. She did not say anything. "I know you hate me. I let you down back then." Yi Yun did not even raise his head as he poured himself a cup of wine. "You must think that I abandoned you for the position of head of the Yi family, right? Is that not the case?" Jin Shan turned around and glared at him coldly. "Back then, you left behind a divorce letter and went to be the head of the Yi family, leaving me alone. Is the position of head of a Yi family that important to you? The Yi family is full of talents. Can it do without you, Yi Yin? Did you fulfill the promises you made to me back then?" Jin Shan became angrier as she spoke. "I was blind to have misjudged you. I did not see that you were a person who coveted power and false fame. Shameless. You can scold me however you want." Yi Yin drank another large cup of wine. "But let me tell you, I have my difficulties." "Difficulties?" Jin Shan sneered. "You became the head of the Yi family and inherited the family business. You can also study the weapon forging manual. I heard that you even married a beautiful girl. You have both fame and fortune. Now you're telling me that you have difficulties. What a joke. I know you do not believe me." Yi Yin stood up. "But you should believe in your master, Tian Kanzi." Yi Yin was slightly drunk now. "Master?" Jin Shan was shocked when she heard the name Tian Kanzi. "What does this have to do with my master?" Yi Yin did not speak. He swayed his drunken body as he walked in front of Jin Shan and started to undress. What are you doing?" Jin Shan took a step back and said involuntarily. Yi Yin did not answer. After the ribbon at his waist was untied, he turned around and took off his shirt, exposing his back. "You recognize this, right?" Gold and Silkworm originally wanted to scold Yi Yun, but when she saw the pattern on Yi Yun's back, she was immediately stunned. She was shocked and couldn't say a word. Burn, burn, burn the sky pattern. Jinshan looked at the flame pattern formed by unknown characters on Yi Yun's back. Her face instantly paled. This burn the sky pattern was a secret pattern created by her master, Tian Kanzi. It was in the shape of a flame and was completely formed by secret spells. There were 10 flames on the flame, 3 green and 7 red. This pattern could be used to create great power by using silver needles and secret spell patterns on the body. It was said that if this pattern was used to the extreme, even Daiyuo immortals would not be able to escape. She heard from her master that this pattern was too overbearing. Unless it was an emergency, it should not be used because every time it was used, it would consume at least 10 years of one's lifespan. The 10 flames on the pattern represented a person's 3 souls and 7 spirits. Every time it was used, it would first consume one's lifespan, then the soul. When the pattern on the body disappeared, the person would die. What was more terrifying was that once the pattern disappeared, it meant that the person had used up all his 3 souls and 7 spirits. He could no longer enter the cycle of reincarnation. In layman's terms, it meant that the person's soul had been destroyed. In the past, her master, Tian Kanzi, had used this trick when he was fighting against her martial uncle, Ka Sang, who had cultivated into an evil wizard. With just one move, Ka Sang's 200 years of cultivation was destroyed, and he became a cripple. However, her master, Tian Kanzi, had also sacrificed 30 years of his lifespan. Overnight, his hair turned white and wrinkles appeared. If he did not cultivate the green wizard scripture in the end, he would definitely be a white-haired old man now. She had only seen this pattern once. Her master, Tian Kanzi, did not pass it to her because this pattern was harmful to the harmony between heaven and earth. Even her master had removed the burning sky pattern on his body. Now that this pattern had appeared on Yi Yun, she faintly felt that her master was hiding something extremely important from her. Now you believe me, right? Ian put on his clothes and tied the ribbon around his waist. His body swayed as he returned to his seat and drank by himself. What's going on? Jinshan asked with a frown. Why do you have this on you? That's all I can say. Yi Yun smiled bitterly. I've said that I have my reasons. If you want to know, go back and ask your master. Ever since my master became a heaven wizard, he has traveled the world and practiced medicine. Jinshan sat down on the stone chair opposite Yi Yun. I haven't seen him in 3 years. I don't know where he is now. How have you been these years? Yi Yun looked at Jinshan and asked, Why are you still alone? How do you know I'm alone? Jinshan said coldly, I'm already married. Huh? Yi Yun laughed. You're still the same. You don't know how to lie. If you're married, why are you still wearing the silver lock I gave you back then? Jinshan did not speak after hearing this. She picked up the wine jug on the table and poured herself a full cup. She drank it all in one gulp. It's been so many years. It's been hard on you. Yi Yun looked at Jinshan and said, Slap. Jinshan slammed the glass cup on the stone table. She did not speak and continued to pour and drink. She drank 3 cups in a row. After the 3 cups went down her stomach, her face flushed red and tears appeared in her eyes. After so many years, she finally heard his comforting words. However, she had been waiting for these words for decades. I'm tired. Jinshan stood up. Drink on your own. With that, she turned and left. Chapter 74. Yifan held Fujiwara, no Chico's hand as they walked down the stairs and arrived at the new room. Xiao Zhao had spent an entire day decorating the room. This was the largest bedroom in the Lingyun cave. It was about 10 zhang long and 6 zhang wide. The layout of the room was very ancient and elegant. There was a pavilion screen, a stone table, and stone chairs. A chessboard and a guqin were displayed in the room. Strange flowers and plants decorated the room. There was a huge double bed with a red bedding embroidered with mandarin ducks playing in water. It was very eye-catching. There was a huge luminous pearl above their heads that shone brightly. Under the illumination of the luminous pearl, the entire room appeared very quiet and peaceful. After the two entered the new room, they sat at the stone table. Under the light of the red wedding candles on the stone table, Fujiwara no Chiko's face was like a peach blossom. She was as beautiful as a fairy. There was an indescribable charm to her that made Yi Fan feel as if he was intoxicated. It was as if he was in a dream. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yi Fan and couldn't help but smile. Am I that beautiful? Of course you're beautiful. You're just like a fairy in a painting. Yi Fan smiled. No, you're even more beautiful than a fairy. In the future, I will be your wife. After a long time, you will get tired of looking at me. Fujiwara no Chiko said with a smile. How could that be? Yi Fan picked up the teapot on the stone table and poured a cup of tea. He handed it to Fujiwara no Chiko. In the future, even if you become an old woman, I will still like looking at you. I know the rules of your great Ming dynasty. A man can have 3 wives and 4 concubines, but a woman must have 3 obedience and 4 virtues. Fujiwara no Chiko took the tea from Yi Fan. After taking a sip, she looked at Yi Fan and said with a smile, Tell me about your plan. How many women are you going to marry in the future? Ha ha! Yi Fan laughed. What? You just got married, and you're ready to take charge of the harem. After Yi Fan finished speaking, he took Fujiwara no Chiko's hand and smiled. Well, I'll listen to you. I'll marry as many as you want. How about it? Smooth talker. Fujiwara no Chiko laughed. How about this? Yi Fan smiled and said, 3 wives and 4 concubines? I don't want 3 wives, but I can consider 4 concubines. You can try. Fujiwara no Chiko smiled like a flower. I promise you won't live past the wedding night. So ruthless? Yi Fan smiled and said, You won't even let me have the wedding night? I'm afraid you won't be able to have the wedding night. Fujiwara no Chiko said with a smile. At that time, I won't call you husband. I'll call you Eunuch Yi. Eunuch Yi? Yi Fan smiled and said, You know a lot. That's natural. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yi Fan with a proud face. Then I won't dare. Yi Fan smiled. That's more like it. Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yi Fan with a smile. Wife, don't worry. He got up and pulled Fujiwara no Chiko up. He held her hands and said softly, It's enough to have you in this life. Okay. Fujiwara no Chiko leaned her head in Yi Fan's arms. Wife. Yi Fan hugged Fujiwara no Chiko, who breathed out like orchids and was delicate and soft. He felt his blood rush up and his mouth dry. It's getting late. I should detoxify you, Yi Fan said as he carried the shy Fujiwara no Chiko by the waist and walked to the stone bed. He reached out, and the wedding candles on the stone table were extinguished instantly. Fengming Mountain, Wanhua Pavilion. The white-robed sky dragon and the pale-faced scholar stood on the lonely peak, admiring the starlight in the sky. The human world is still the best. The white-robed sky dragon sighed. Free and unrestrained. I finally understand why you want to play the human world. Ha ha! The pale-faced scholar looked up to the sky and laughed. Brother White, why are you so sentimental today? Could it be that seeing my sworn brother get married has made you yearn for the mundane world? Ha! This mouth of yours is always unforgiving. The white-robed sky dragon laughed. You're such a killjoy. Oh, ha! The pale-faced scholar picked up the wine pot and took a sip before laughing. I'm sure Brother White's visit today is not just to congratulate and enjoy the scenery. Oh, the white-robed sky dragon looked at the pale-faced scholar with a smile. In that case, Brother Jean, why don't you tell me why I'm here? I know the rules of heaven. The pale-faced scholar smiled. I can't descend to the mortal world easily. With your character, this trip is definitely not simple. Coupled with the flawless robe that you gave me, this matter is even more complicated. I didn't expect Brother Jean to be so meticulous, even though you're greedy for the things in this cup. The white-robed sky dragon laughed. You're right. Firstly, I'm here to congratulate Brother Jin's sworn brother. Secondly, the white-robed sky dragon leaned his head close to the pale-faced scholar who was drinking from the pot and whispered, I've already investigated the matter that you told me last time. Oh, the pale-faced scholar immediately put down the wine pot after hearing the sentence. What do the higher-ups mean? Let it be, the white-robed sky dragon said. Let it be. The pale-faced scholar frowned after hearing this. What does this mean? Brother Jean, you're really confused. The white-robed sky dragon said. It's clear that the higher-ups don't care about this matter. Don't tell me you still don't understand, Brother Jean. After saying that, he looked at the pale-faced scholar who was frowning with a smile. Don't tell me. The pale-faced scholar suddenly understood the mystery after being reminded by the white-robed sky dragon. The white-robed sky dragon looked at the pale-faced scholar and nodded with a smile. Ha ha! The pale-faced scholar hugged the white-robed sky dragon's shoulder and laughed heartily. That's great, that's great. Ha ha! This is heaven's secret. Brother Jean, you must not reveal this matter, the white-robed sky dragon said. Don't worry, Brother White. Although I, old Jean, am greedy for wine, I still know what to say and what not to say, the pale-faced scholar said. However, there's one thing I must remind you of, Brother Jean, the white-robed sky dragon said. I've carefully observed Yi Fan. There's a faint trace of demonic nature in his spiritual platform. It must have been left behind by Eldritch in his previous life. When I think of Brother Jean teaching him the secret of mysterious heaven and the cold dragon sword and distant fire sword, I'm worried that once his demonic nature appears, I'm afraid. Your worry is not without reason. The pale-faced scholar stopped smiling when he heard the sky dragon's words. However, don't worry. I'll be careful. I won't let him repeat the path of Eldritch. That's good. The white-robed sky dragon nodded and said, I gave him the flawless robe. Firstly, it's to increase his strength. Secondly, it's to restrain him and suppress his demonic nature to prevent him from going astray in the future. The white-robed sky dragon raised his head and looked at the beautiful night sky on Phoenix Cry Mountain. He slowly said, once the situation goes out of control in the future, not only will Yi Fan repeat the path of Eldritch, I'm afraid that even you and I will not be able to avoid fighting. After all, I'm a member of the Heavenly Court. Do you understand what I mean, Brother Jean? The pale-faced scholar's face was solemn as he nodded solemnly. It's getting late. There's no point in staying any longer. The white-robed sky dragon cupped his hands and said, the Heavenly Court is busy. I'll leave first. Brother Jean, take care. Brother Bai, take care too. The pale-faced scholar also cupped his hands and said. Chapter 75. The next morning, when Yi Fan woke up, the sky was already bright. Looking at Fujiwara no Chiko, sleeping soundly beside him with her back exposed, Yi Fan smiled as he recalled last night's boundless spring scenery. He gently stroked Fujiwara no Chiko's jet-black hair, bowed his head and smelled Fujiwara no Chiko's scent, intoxicated by it. Fujiwara no Chiko's neck was tickled by Yi Fan's touch, and she slowly opened her beautiful eyes. You're awake. Fujiwara no Chiko said sleepily. Your poison has just been cured, so you need to rest. Yi Fan leaned over and kissed Fujiwara no Chiko's forehead. Sleep a little more. What time is it still sleeping? Fujiwara no Chiko got up and began to put on her clothes, making Yi Fan's eyes start to burn, his lips dry, and he was ready to move. What time is it? Still thinking about this. Fujiwara no Chiko saw that Yi Fan's eyes were not right, and immediately said with a smile, why haven't you paid your respects to father and grandfather? After her reminder, Yi Fan finally regained his senses and quickly got up to put on his clothes as well. The second day of the wedding, according to the rules, the parents should be served tea and paid their respects. After the husband and wife finished packing, they opened the stone door and slowly walked down the stairs to the pavilion below. Inside the pavilion, the pale-faced scholar, Jin Shan, Yi Kong, and Yin were already there chatting and drinking tea, but Xiao Zhao was not there. The husband and wife quickly stepped forward and bowed to everyone, while Fujiwara no Chiko served tea to Yi Kong and Yin. After all the formalities were finished, Jin Shan began to take Fujiwara no Chiko's pulse again. Granny, how is it? Yi Fan asked. You can rest assured this time. Jin Shan smiled and retracted her hand. The poison in her body has completely dissipated and she has recovered. That's great, Yi Fan said happily. Fujiwara no Chiko was also overjoyed. This time, not only did she get rid of the poison in her body, she also found her ideal husband. How could she not be happy? The two looked at each other and smiled affectionately. Fan Air. Yi Kong slowly walked in front of Yi Fan and said, I've already discussed this with your grandfather. Since you're already married, you can live in the Ling Yun cave in the future. This place is a completely different world. It's full of spirit qi and is very suitable for your cultivation. If you miss home in the future, you can bring Chico back to stay for a few days. It's best if you bring along my great-grandson, huh? Ian also laughed as he walked towards Ifan. Fujiwara, no Chico's face turned red when she heard this. Fan Air. Jin-chan took out a bag of things from the bamboo basket and walked in front of Ifan. These are some herbs for nourishing the body. Although Chico has recovered, she has just recovered from serious illness. You can boil these herbs for her to drink every day. It'll be very good for her. Yifan thanked her again. Jin-chan smiled and said, Although it's not strange to be so polite, Granny, I really don't like you being so polite. In the future, when you and Chico have time or pass by Miaojiang, you must come and see this old woman. Granny, you're elusive. Yifan smiled and said, Where can I find you? Hee. Jin-chan smiled and said, Don't worry about this. As long as you take the mulberry leaf I gave you, I'll naturally know when you enter Miaojiang. Yifan nodded. Fan Air, Yikong said, The Yi family is busy. Your grandfather and I will go back first. You stay here and take good care of Chico. Practice diligently and don't neglect your cultivation. Yikong turned his head and said to Fujiwara, No, Chico. Chico, come here. I have something to say to you. After speaking, he walked towards the entrance of the Lingyun cave. Fujiwara, no Chico responded and then looked at Yifan. Yifan smiled and nodded. Go ahead. Fujiwara, no Chico immediately turned and walked towards the entrance of the cave. Fan Air, Yin said to Yifan, I know about Chico's situation from your father. The reason why your father asked the two of you to stay here is for your safety. After all, this place is deserted and there's a barrier. If they're not experts, they definitely won't come here. In addition, your brother Kim is here. Your father and I are relieved. Grandpa, Yifan said, although those evildoers didn't succeed last time, they will definitely not give up. They will definitely come back again. I'm worried. You can rest assured. Ian smiled and said, They already learned their lesson last time and know that the Yi family is not to be trifled with. In addition, with the protection of the heavenly dragon and the deterrence of the Yi ancestor, they won't dare to come again in a short time. Grandpa, if anything happens, you must inform me, Yifan exhorted. Don't worry. Yin patted Yifan's shoulder. At the same time, Fujiwara, no Chico, and Yi Kong arrived at the entrance of the cave. The two of them stopped and faced each other. Chico, Yi Kong said, Your master, Ito Fumio, and I are close friends. Now that you and Fan Air are married, it can be said that you're even closer. Since you're now the daughter-in-law of the Yi family, I have a few words to tell you. Father, please speak, Fujiwara no Chico replied. Although Fan Air now has a secret technique, he's not as experienced as you. I know his temperament. He's kind and abhors evil, but sometimes he doesn't care about the big picture. Yi Kong said, Now that I'm not by his side, I'll leave the matter of taking care of him to you. You're his wife, so some words are more useful than mine. Father, don't worry, Fujiwara no Chico said, I'll take good care of him. Yi Kong said, As for the enmity of the in-laws, you can rest assured. This matter is no longer your matter alone. Father will take care of it for you, and the Yi family will also take care of it for you. Father, Fujiwara no Chico choked with sobs. Yi Kong's words made her feel fatherly love again. Father doesn't have a daughter, so in the future, I'll treat you as my own daughter. Yi Kong used his hand to wipe away the tears on Fujiwara no Chico's face. Fujiwara no Chico smiled through her tears. I've already sent people to investigate. That Matsumoto Takeyoshi's influence in the great Ming dynasty is deeply rooted. He has many eyes and ears, and even some of the important officials in the court are his people. Yi Kong said, There are many experts around him. Chico, You must not act recklessly. Otherwise, don't talk about revenge. I'm afraid you won't be able to escape unscathed. China has an old saying that it's never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Do you understand? Father, I understand. Fujiwara no Chico nodded. Yikong said, okay, let's go back. It's time to say goodbye to them. The two people returned to the pavilion again. Brother Kim, I'm also going back to Miaojiang. In the future, if Brother Kim has time, you must come to Miaojiang. Jin Shan said to the white-faced scholar. Of course, of course. The white-faced scholar replied with a smile. Fan Air, take good care, Chico. Jin Shan said to Yi Fan. If you don't feel well, just come and find me. Mother-in-law, don't worry. Yi Fan held Fujiwara no Chico's hand and said, in the future, I will definitely bring Chico to see you. Jin Shan nodded. Brother Kim, I'll take my leave. Saying that, she turned around and walked towards the entrance of the cave. We'll also take our leave. Ian also said to the white-faced scholar. After saying that, he walked towards the entrance of the cave with Yi Kong. The white-faced scholar and Yi Fan couple walked the three people to the entrance of the cave. Everyone, take care, Ian said, and then jumped into the air. Using his sword chi to support his body, he floated down the mountain. Yi Kong also cupped his fists. Then he circulated his Kane Yuan chi and quickly floated down the mountain. Jin Shan nodded to the three people. Then, she turned around and waved her hand in the air. A red palanquin instantly floated over. Jin Shan walked into the palanquin and sat down. The red palanquin gently turned around. A red shadow floated into the sky. I didn't expect mother-in-law to have such abilities. Fujiwara no Chico said in surprise as she watched the palanquin disappear into the distance. This is nothing, Yi Fan said. It's a pity that you weren't there when mother-in-law and Wu Du fought. That scene will definitely be unforgettable. Wu Du? The white-faced scholar suddenly asked. Wu Du, the Goo King. Big Brother is indeed Big Brother. It's Wu Du, the Goo King. Yi Fan said, that day, I brought Jin Shan and met Wu Du on the way. If it wasn't for Jin Shan's brilliant methods, I'm afraid I would have been devoured by his flying locust formation. I see. The white-faced scholar pondered for a moment and said, Brother Yi, I think the goo poison in Chico's body should have been refined by Wu Du. The white-faced scholar frowned and said, what? Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chico were shocked when they heard this. I'm just guessing. The white-faced scholar said, Wu Du and Jin Shan were originally from the same sect. Moreover, the two of them had a very good relationship. However, I heard that in order to obtain the green sorcerer scripture, he used goo to frame Tian Kanzi. However, Yi family unintentionally saw through it. Tian Kanzi expelled him from a sect. From then on, there was no news of him. I heard that he went to Japan's Fuso. I didn't expect you to meet him. I don't think this is a coincidence. Japan's Fuso? Yi Fan frowned when he heard this. It's really him. The white-faced scholar said, what happened? I won't hide it from Brother Kim. It was my grandfather, Yi Yun, who saw through Wu Du's trick back then, Yi Fan said. Oh, the white-faced scholar smiled and said, no wonder. Big brother, let's talk inside. Let Chico tell you the whole story, Yi Fan said. Okay. The white-faced scholar nodded. Chapter 76. Brother Kim, that's the whole story, Yi Fan said to the pale-faced scholar after Fujiwara no Chico finished telling the story. The pale-faced scholar did not say a word during Fujiwara no Chico's narration. He only took a few sips of tea from time to time. Brother Yi, the pale-faced scholar placed the teacup on the stone table and said something that made Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chico dumbfounded. I've known about Matsumoto Takayoshi's shocking conspiracy for a long time. What? Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chico were shocked. Brother Kim, you've known about this for a long time? That's right. The pale-faced scholar looked at the two of them in disbelief and said slowly, back then, after Eldritch's accident, I was in a bad mood, so I traveled overseas to relax. My first stop was Japan. However, as soon as I arrived in Japan, I felt that something was wrong. What's wrong? Fujiwara no Chico asked. Under normal circumstances, even in peaceful times, there would be some demons stirring up trouble, let alone Japan, which has been at war for years. In addition, it's surrounded by the sea and the Een energy is strong, so there would be no lack of wild spirits and fish monsters stirring up trouble. However, at that time, I found that the entire Japanese demon realm was strangely quiet. I went to all the places in Japan, but I didn't find a single demon other than the normal cycle of Een, the pale-faced scholar said as he picked up the teacup and took a sip of the fragrant tea. What happened after that? Yifan also felt that something was wrong. After that, I had no choice but to go to East China Sea and have a few words with Ao Guang, the pale-faced scholar said calmly. Ao Guang? Yifan was shocked. East Sea Dragon King? That's him. The pale-faced scholar said, the entire East Sea is under his rule, so if you want to know about Japan, he's the most suitable person to look for. Yifan was dumbfounded. He couldn't imagine that such a thing as chatting with the Dragon King of the East Sea would come out of his brother Kim's mouth. It was like a visit from a relative. He told me that recently, all the big and small demons in Japan seem to have disappeared into thin air. The entire Japan has become clean, the pale-faced scholar said. However, he once passed by Japan on a cloud and discovered a strange place. Where? Yifan asked. According to his memories, there was a mansion in the Eastern Ocean continent that was surrounded by black chi and demonic chi. The pale-faced scholar said, at that time, he was in a hurry to report to the heavenly court, so he didn't take a closer look. After all, the matters on the continent were not under his jurisdiction, so he only took a quick glance. Then, Brother Kim, did you check it out? Yifan asked. At that time, I had nothing to do, so I went to check the sky above the place he mentioned. Only then did I see some clues, the pale-faced scholar said. The pale-faced scholar said, the reason why the demonic aura lingered there is not because it was willing, but because it was forcibly brought there. There are countless demons, and from the looks of the demonic aura, most of them have quite a high cultivation level. Could it be that an expert is subduing demons and monsters to benefit the people? Yifan asked. At first, I thought so too, the pale-faced scholar said slowly. However, when I saw the ghost cauldron in the center of the demonic chi, I understood. This was not an expert subduing demons and monsters. This was clearly someone cultivating evil arts. Ghost cauldron? Yifan asked with a frown. This name didn't sound like anything good. The ghost cauldron is also known as the Een refining cauldron, the pale-faced scholar said. It was an evil item refined by an evil sect expert in Japan. It was said that it was made from thousands of resentful corpses as firewood and used a secret technique to refine the bronze with ghost fire. This bronze was definitely not ordinary bronze. It had to be a bronze sword weapon that had killed hundreds of people. The murderous aura combined with the secret technique and the resentment of the corpses made the power of this cauldron imaginable, the pale-faced scholar said with a frown. It was said that when this cauldron was forged, the weather changed and ghosts cried. The evil sect expert was struck by lightning and turned into pieces on the spot because the evil item he forged was too evil and went against the harmony of heaven. The fragments of this cauldron were sealed by the righteous Japanese experts. They buried it deep underground and cast a large Buddha on it, using the power of Buddha to suppress the evil chi. Unexpectedly, someone unsealed the seal and reassembled it into its original form. It reappeared and wreaked havoc in the human world. Then, could it be that someone is using this cauldron to subdue evil? That's not impossible, Yifan said. Brother Yi, you've forgotten, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. Not all demons wreak havoc. Although some are demons, they are compassionate. For example, Nieching's 1,000 Demons Hall and Xiao Zhao. There are even many immortals who were demons in their previous lives. The pale-faced scholar said. However, judging from the situation at that time, the ghost cauldron forcibly captured all demons regardless of whether they were good or evil. If it was a righteous person, he would definitely not have done so. Brother Kim, you're right. However, Yifan frowned and asked, why did the ghost cauldron forcibly capture these demons? I was possessing an old man that day. When I saw this scene, I landed on the cloud and came to the front of the mansion, the pale-faced scholar said. The pale-faced scholar recalled. That mansion was extremely magnificent and had a large number of ninja experts guarding it. Ninja? Could it be? Fujiwara no Chico suddenly said in shock. Could it be the Twilight Autumn Mansion? That's right, the pale-faced scholar said. It's Matsumoto Takayoshi's current official residence, the Twilight Autumn Mansion. What happened after that? Brother Kim, did you go in to check it out? Yi Fan asked. I did, the pale-faced scholar said. I used the invisibility spell to hide my figure and walked around inside. I saw the refining cauldron placed in the center of the garden and also saw the owner of the evil cauldron. It was Matsumoto Takayoshi's ancestor. The pale-faced scholar recalled. This person was young, but had great ambitions. He secretly asked the experts of the evil sect to use the refining cauldron to control the Japanese demon realm. Those demons could not withstand the torture of the refining cauldron and pledged their loyalty to him, becoming his claws. Now, this evil cauldron has been passed down to Matsumoto Takayoshi's generation. Did he control these demons to seize the great Ming dynasty's divine weapon? Fujiwara no Chico asked. That's right, the pale-faced scholar said. The small Japanese empire could not satisfy his appetite. Moreover, other than the refining cauldron, I heard that he also obtained the secret weapon Kusanagi sword. Coupled with the support of the evil god Xietian, his strength cannot be underestimated. When Fujiwara no Chico heard the two words Xietian, she could not help but think of the strange statue that day. Even now, it was still vivid in her mind. That Xietian's background is not small, Fujiwara no Chico said. There are indeed many powerful demons in the Japanese empire, the pale-faced scholar said. I don't know the background of that Xietian, but his cultivation is not simple. Even the refining cauldron is nothing to him. In my opinion, he has at least thousands of years of cultivation. Then why did he support Matsumoto Takayoshi? Fujiwara no Chico said. Logically speaking, the divine weapon of the country should not be attractive to demons. It must be that Matsumoto Takayoshi promised him something, the pale-faced scholar said. Once he helps Matsumoto Takayoshi obtain the divine weapon of the country and take over the world, he will be granted a title in the future and become a god worshipped by the whole country. At that time, there will be endless incense, which will be beneficial to his cultivation. Brother Kim, have you fought with Xietian before? Fujiwara no Chico asked. No, the pale-faced scholar said. I can't recklessly intervene in the affairs of the human world. Moreover, this matter has nothing to do with me, and we are in the Japanese Empire. So why should I care? The divine weapon of the great Ming dynasty? Yi Fan asked. Is there really such a thing? There is more than that, the pale-faced scholar said slowly. There is more than one. More than one? Yi Fan was surprised. Since ancient times, there have been many divine weapons in the land of China, the pale-faced scholar said. But when it comes to the divine weapon of the country, there are only 9 that can be considered as such. 9? Yi Fan felt a little incredulous. That many? Huh, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. Speaking of which, this divine weapon of the country can be said to be known by all women and children in the great Ming dynasty. Known by all women and children. Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chico became more and more confused. It's the 9 cauldrons. The pale-faced scholar picked up the teapot and filled his cup. I see. Yi Fan suddenly understood. Fujiwara no Chico finally understood what the divine weapon of the great Ming dynasty that Matsumoto Takayoshi was talking about was. But, Brother Kim, Yi Fan frowned and asked, can the 9 cauldrons really protect the country? If Matsumoto Takayoshi obtains these, can he really obtain the country of the great Ming dynasty? That's right. The pale-faced scholar stood up and said, whoever obtains the 9 cauldrons obtains the world. But, Yi Fan asked doubtfully, as far as I know, many dynasties didn't obtain the 9 cauldrons, but didn't they still obtain the world? Obtaining the world doesn't necessarily require the 9 cauldrons, But possessing the 9 cauldrons will obtain the world, the pale-faced scholar explained. Brother Kim, I understand. Yi Fan was suddenly enlightened after listening to the pale-faced scholar's explanation. Fujiwara no Chiko also nodded. Haha, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. Brother Yi and sister-in-law, I've made a fool of myself. I also heard this from my master. Yi Fan was shocked in disbelief. Brother Kim, you have a master? Of course, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. Why can't I, your brother Kim, have a master? Then what kind of person can be brother Kim's master? Yi Fan sighed after hearing this. To be able to be brother Kim's master, what kind of cultivation did this person have? Yi Fan didn't dare to think about it. It's getting late, so let's not talk about it for now. I still have to go listen to my master's lecture. The pale-faced scholar smiled mysteriously. In short, this Matsumoto Takeyoshi is very ambitious and has many monsters under his command. Now that Chico's identity has been exposed, he will definitely send experts to kill you too. You two, husband and wife, must not go out and travel for the next few days. Remember this. Then, Brother Kim, when will you come back? Fujiwara no Chico asked. I came back because I asked for leave from my master. I won't be back for a long time. Otherwise, Xiao Zhao will blame me again. The pale-faced scholar said. Speaking of Xiao Zhao, why haven't I seen her yet? Where did she go? Fujiwara no Chico asked. Her, huh? The pale-faced scholar said with a smile. She probably drank too much yesterday and hasn't woken up yet. No wonder I didn't see her this morning. Yi Fan said. Don't worry, the pale-faced scholar said with a smile. I will come back to see you when I have the chance. Then, Brother Kim, take care. Fujiwara no Chico said. Sister-in-law, don't worry. The pale-faced scholar said with a smile to Fujiwara no Chico. You must look after my sworn brother and urge him to practice well. Also, hurry up and give birth to a little nephew for me. Aha! The pale-faced scholar looked up to the sky and laughed. Fujiwara no Chico's face turned red, but she just smiled without saying anything. I almost forgot, the pale-faced scholar said. Brother Yi, the mysterious secret that I gave you, you must not be in a hurry to succeed. You must blindly practice it. You must wait until your Qi is completely filled with pure spiritual energy before you start practicing it. Otherwise, it will be easy to go crazy. Do you understand? I will remember, Brother Kim. Yi Fan nodded and said, Brother Kim, take care. And you stay here, I will go first. The pale-faced scholar said and disappeared without any movement. Brother Kim, Fujiwara no Chico looked at the pale-faced scholar who disappeared, her face showing surprise. She had only heard Yi Fan talk about Brother Kim's cultivation. Now that she saw it with her own eyes, her face was still full of surprise and shock. Brother Kim is like this, coming and going without a trace. You will slowly get used to it, wife. Yi Fan said with a smile. Chapter 77. After the pale-faced scholar left, Yi Fan took Fujiwara no Chico to the garden to eat some snacks. After eating, he took her to the full moon pavilion at the top of Phoenix Crime Mountain to enjoy the scenery. At this time, a red sun was hanging in the sky, and thousands of golden rays were sprinkled on the top of Phoenix Crime Mountain, which was extremely spectacular. Looking down from here, there was a large lush forest full of green trees and red flowers and gurgling streams, which made people feel relaxed and happy. Clouds surrounded their feet as if they were in a fairyland. It's really beautiful here. Fujiwara no Chico sincerely said. It's even more beautiful than my hometown's Mount Fuji. How is it? My cave is not bad, right? Yi Fan said with a smile. It should be said that it's your previous life's cave. Fujiwara no Chico smiled and closed her eyes, taking a deep breath of fresh air. I really don't know what kind of person Eldritch was in your previous life. Both good and evil. The moon is white and the wind is clean. Yi Fan looked at the beautiful scenery and said, these 8 words were the evaluation of Eldritch at that time. He must be an interesting person. Fujiwara no Chico said, otherwise, how could he have such an elegant cave? Do you like it here? Yi Fan held Fujiwara no Chico's shoulder and asked. Of course I like it. Fujiwara no Chico softly said, leaning her head on Yi Fan's body. Brother Yi, sister-in-law. Xiao Zhao's voice came from behind. The two of them turned around and found Xiao Zhao, who was dressed in plain clothes, walking towards them. She held a white sword in her hand, and her waterfall-like black hair was tied up with a green thread. It was completely different from her usual attire. Usually, other than going up the mountain to pick herbs, Xiao Zhao would wear his pink clothes. However, today she was wearing white clothes. Coupled with Xiao Zhao's peerlessly beautiful appearance, she was like a fairy in a painting as she leisurely walked in front of the two people. The observant Yi Fan noticed that Xiao Zhao's eyes were red. It was obvious that she had been crying. However, what made Yi Fan feel even more uneasy was that Xiao Zhao was carrying a bundle on her shoulder. Good morning, Brother Yi. Good morning, sister-in-law. Xiao Zhao greeted them with a smile. What are you? Yi Fan pointed at Xiao Zhao's bag and asked. Brother Yi, I'm leaving, Xiao Zhao said with a smile. Where are we going? Yi Fan seemed to understand Xiao Zhao's intention. To go out and gain experience. Xiao Zhao smiled. We can't stay here forever. Xiao Zhao, you can't go. Fujiwara no Chico held Xiao Zhao's hand. I haven't talked to you properly yet. Although you call me sister-in-law, I still treat you as an older sister. Listen to your younger sister, don't go. Sister-in-law, listen to what you're saying. Xiao Zhao smiled. After I was saved by Brother Yi, I've been living here for hundreds of years. It's been so boring. Now that Brother Yi is under your care, I'm finally free. Xiao Zhao continued. Since you and Brother Yi just got married, I can move out and look around. Sister-in-law, I understand your good intentions, but I've already decided. Sister-in-law, don't try to persuade me. Xiao Zhao, listen to me. Don't mess around. Yi Fan couldn't bear it. This Lingyun cave is big enough. Don't tell me you have to live alone. Listen to your sister-in-law and don't go. Brother Yi, you and sister-in-law are newlyweds. What's the point of me staying? Xiao Zhao smiled. You're a couple, leaving me all alone. Yi Fan was speechless by the eloquent Xiao Zhao. Brother Yi, don't worry. Xiao Zhao looked at Yi Fan's hesitant expression and smiled. I'm hundreds of years old. I know how to take care of myself. Last night, Jin Shan told me to go to her place to play when I'm free. I thought that since I haven't been to Miaojiang before, I agreed to mother-in-law's request. You're going to Jin Shan's place? Yi Fan asked. Yes, Xiao Zhao said. It just so happens that mother-in-law is also alone right now. Yi Fan didn't say anything after hearing this. He didn't want Xiao Zhao to move out, but he couldn't find a suitable reason to make her stay. You've thought it through? Yi Fan asked. Yes, Xiao Zhao replied. Yi Fan took out a stack of banknotes. These banknotes were given to him by his father, Yi Kong, at the Yi family's ancestral home. There were more than 50,000 taels of silver. In Miaojiang, he spent more than 30,000 taels of silver on food, drinks, and custom-made silver locks. Now, he had more than 20,000 taels of silver left. Yi Fan handed the banknotes to Xiao Zhao. Take this money with you in case you need it. The people of this world are sinister. You've been staying in Lingyun Cave all this time, so you don't have much experience. You must take good care of yourself. Brother Yi, Xiao Zhao hurriedly refused. I'm not going to do business. Why would I need so much money? I have enough money. It's enough for my expenses along the way. How much money do you have? Yi Fan asked. More than 30 taels of silver. With some jewelry, I have about... Before Xiao Zhao could finish speaking, Yi Fan stuffed the banknotes into Xiao Zhao's hands. How can that little amount be enough? Listen to me. Take it. There's really no need. Brother Yi. Xiao Zhao continued to refuse. Her hand accidentally touched Yi Fan's hand, and she immediately pulled it back as if she had been electrocuted. This small action made Yi Fan feel very sad. He recalled the first time he came to Lingyun Cave. When Xiao Zhao found out that he was Eldritch's reincarnation, she had hugged his naked body without a care. However, in just a few short days, it was as if there was a huge mountain between them. Now, even unintentional skin contact made Xiao Zhao want to avoid it. He understood Xiao Zhao's thoughts, but he already had Chico. Xiao Zhao, take it. Fujiwara no Chico took the banknotes and put them into Xiao Zhao's hands again. This is Brother Ye's kind intentions. If you continue to refuse, your brother Yi won't be happy. After hearing Fujiwara no Chico's words, Xiao Zhao glanced at Yi Fan, who was frowning, and reluctantly agreed. Thank you, Brother Yi. Thank you, sister-in-law, said Xiao Zhao. Take care of yourself along the way. You're already a few hundred years old. Don't act like a child, reminded Yi Fan. Got it. Xiao Zhao lowered her head and said, Brother Yi, sister-in-law Chico, I'm leaving. Take care. If there's a chance, I'll come back to see you. After saying this, she turned around and walked to the cliff. Her figure landed, and she slowly floated down the mountain. No matter what, she had a few hundred years of cultivation. With Brother Kim's frequent guidance, although she couldn't fly in the air, she could still fly for a period of time. A white figure flew down the mountain like a fallen leaf. Chico, wait for me here, Yi Fan said as he looked at Xiao Zhao's swaying body. I'll send her down the mountain. I'll be back soon. Okay. Fujiwara no Chico replied. Yi Fan nodded. Then, he used his spiritual energy and used his movement technique. A shadow floated down from the sky and chased after Xiao Zhao. At this time, Xiao Zhao had already landed halfway up the mountain. With her face full of tears, she was about to turn around and take another look at Fengming Mountain, which she was reluctant to part with. Unexpectedly, just as she turned around, a familiar figure quickly floated in front of her. Brother Yi, Xiao Zhao exclaimed. This shock caused her breathing to become unstable, and her body began to sway violently. Yi Fan immediately grabbed Xiao Zhao's hand and used his spiritual energy to support Xiao Zhao's body. With the support of his powerful spiritual energy, Xiao Zhao's body immediately became as stable as Mount Tai. Why are you here? Xiao Zhao asked in surprise. Where's sister-in-law? I saw that your body was unstable. I was afraid that something might have happened to you. Yi Fan glanced at Xiao Zhao, whose face was still covered in tears, and said, Your sister-in-law is still at the full moon pavilion. Oh, Xiao Zhao said. Her hand was tightly held by Yi Fan, causing her face to turn red. Yo, Yi Fan said with a smile. You can even blush. Why didn't you blush when you hugged me back then? When Xiao Zhao heard Yi Fan's words, her face turned even redder. Yi Fan looked at Xiao Zhao's red face and laughed. You're not allowed to laugh, Xiao Zhao said angrily. Okay, I won't laugh. Yi Fan smiled. Seeing that they were about to reach the foot of the mountain, Yi Fan slowly withdrew his spiritual energy, and the two of them gently landed on the ground. Okay, Brother Yi, quickly go back. Otherwise, sister-in-law will get anxious from waiting. Xiao Zhao withdrew her hand from Yi Fan's grasp. Go out and play for a few days and come back. Yi Fan handed the cloth bag to Xiao Zhao. This Lingyun cave is your home. I only have you as my little sister. Don't make me keep thinking about you. Okay. Xiao Zhao lowered her head and said, Okay, when you get there, learn a few moves from Jin Shan. Yi Fan smiled and said, When you come back, get a sedan chair and sit on it. Okay. As Xiao Zhao spoke, she suddenly threw herself into Yi Fan's arms and hugged Yi Fan tightly. She said, Brother Yi, take care. Oh. Yi Fan smiled as he looked at Xiao Zhao in his arms. You're quite brave. Aren't you afraid that your sister-in-law will see? Although he said this, Yi Fan still did not push Xiao Zhao away. I'm your little sister. Xiao Zhao hugged him even tighter. As a little sister, it's not too much to hug her big brother before leaving. You little girl, you're right, Yi Fan said as he patted Xiao Zhao's shoulder. Okay, let's hurry. After a while, I'll take Chico to Miaojiang to see you. Really? Xiao Zhao looked up and said excitedly, That's great. Yi Fan scratched Xiao Zhao's nose and said with a smile, You're already a few hundred years old, but you still act like a 3-year-old child. Hee. Xiao Zhao laughed and let go of Yi Fan. Then, Brother Yi, I'm leaving. Okay. Yi Fan smiled and said, Be careful on the road. If anything happens, I won't be able to find a sister as old as you. Yi Fan said, as his Yuling chi slowly rose. You're already a few hundred years old, but you still make people worry. TSK, TSK, TSK. Yifan shook his head and laughed. You? Xiao Zhao immediately widened her almond-shaped eyes in anger. You? Say that again. After saying that, she jumped up to hit Yifan. However, Yifan was already more than 100 feet above the ground. Xiao Zhao could not reach him at all. You can't reach me, right? Hee hee. Yifan floated in the air and made a face. When you learn Jin Chan's flying sedan, come back and take revenge on me. Ha ha ha. Just you wait. See how I'll deal with you when I come back. Xiao Zhao angrily turned around and left. However, when she turned around, there was a smile on her face. Chapter 78. Why'd you come back so soon? Fujiwara no Chiko looked at Yifan, who was slowly floating in front of her, and asked softly, I missed you, my wife. Yifan smiled as he came in front of Fujiwara no Chiko. You have a glib tongue. Fujiwara no Chiko laughed. Is Xiao Zhao all right? She's fine. This girl's thoughts are too heavy. It's good to go out and relax. Yifan said, I can see that her feelings for you are real. Fujiwara no Chiko said, that's why you have to be good to your husband. Yifan sat on the stone bench, picked up the teapot, and poured tea. Your husband is handsome and talented. How many rich girls are lining up to wait for me, but I don't care. Is that so? Fujiwara no Chiko smiled as she sat opposite Yifan. It seems that I have to serve my husband well. Otherwise, my husband will fall into the dust again. That's natural. You have to. Yifan was halfway through his words when he suddenly understood. Who did you say fell into the dust again? It's you. Fujiwara no Chiko leisurely drank tea. So many people are lining up to wait for you. If you don't fall into the dust, what do you mean? Try saying that again. Yifan put on a straight face. Fall into the dust, fall into the dust, fall into the dust. Fujiwara no Chiko said 3 times in a row, and then looked at Yifan with a smile. Ha! Yifan slapped the table and quickly got up to catch Fujiwara no Chiko, who had a complacent look on her face. Ah! Fujiwara no Chiko shouted and stood up with a smile. She turned around and ran towards the field next to the full moon pavilion. Let's see where you can run to. Yifan rubbed his hands and laughed. Wife, you have to be careful. I'm coming. After saying that, he laughed and chased after her. Fujiwara no Chiko screamed and ran towards the 7 towering ancient trees at the top of the mountain. Yifan chased after her. Fujiwara no Chiko was very excited. She used the movement skill that her master, Ito Fumio, taught her. Like a shadow, she entered the ancient forest. With a few steps, she climbed up one of the big trees and quietly hid among the dense branches and leaves. Hee, Yifan snickered. See how I'll deal with you. After he finished speaking, he activated his spirit energy and soared into the air. A phantom image rushed straight towards Fujiwara no Chiko, who was standing on the treetops. Fujiwara no Chiko didn't expect that not only did Yifan have enough spirit energy, but after absorbing the spirit energy of the spirit jade blood phoenix in the Yi family's ancestral home, his eyesight had become very amazing. He was even able to see through the meridians of a person's body. After she climbed up the tree, Yifan had already condensed his spirit energy into his eyes and saw through Fujiwara no Chiko's hiding place. Just as Fujiwara no Chiko smiled and quietly pushed aside the leaves, preparing to see how anxious Yifan was, she suddenly felt a pair of strong hands carry her from behind. In a flash, they rushed out of the dense forest and soared into the air. Ah! Fujiwara no Chiko shouted. I say, wife. Yifan said in Fujiwara no Chiko's ear with an evil smile. You made your husband look for you very hard. You. Fujiwara no Chiko said with a red face, put me down. Who just said that I was reduced to prostitute? Yifan said with a smile. I said it. Fujiwara no Chiko saw that Yifan didn't have any intention of putting her down, so she simply put her hands around Yifan's neck. What do you want? What do you want? Yi Fan said with an evil smile. Didn't you say that you wanted me to be reduced to a prostitute? I'll be reduced to a prostitute with you right now. Fujiwara no Chico's face was red. Didn't you just let your husband detoxify you again? Yi Fan whispered in Fujiwara no Chico's ear. Holding the red-faced Fujiwara no Chico, he rushed into the dense forest. In the next few days, Yi Fan and Fujiwara no Chico played chess, chatted, and flirted in the Lingyun cave. He also took Fujiwara no Chico to the primitive forest at the foot of the mountain to play. In the immortal cave, with a beauty by his side, Yi Fan felt that he was more free and happy than an immortal. Fujiwara no Chico also felt incomparably happy. Sometimes, she felt like she was in a dream. It was easy to find a priceless treasure, but hard to find a lover. With Yi Fan by her side, she had nothing else to ask for in this life. Days passed, and in the blink of an eye, more than a month had passed. Everything was peaceful, and no one from Matsumoto Takeyoshi came to find trouble. Seeing that the spring festival was approaching, Yi Fan proposed to take Fujiwara no Chico to Miaojiang for a stroll. First, to see Xiao Zhao and Jinshan. Second, to bring them back to the Yi clan to spend the spring festival together. Fujiwara no Chico agreed. It was a fine and sunny day with not a cloud in sight. It was a good day to go on a long journey. Fujiwara Chico suggested that the two of them travel slowly. They wanted to experience the local customs of the great Ming dynasty and admire the scenery of a foreign country. They would take at most 3 to 5 days before they arrived at the Miaojiang region. However, Yi Fan did not agree. He was most worried about Fujiwara no Chico's safety. After all, Fujiwara no Chico was still being chased. If it traveled slowly, it would be difficult to avoid any trouble. Speaking of safety, flying was the safest. Seeing this situation, Fujiwara no Chico could only agree. That night, Ming was high in the sky, and the sky was full of stars. The husband and wife packed up, and after sealing the cave entrance with a barrier, they left Lingyun Cave. Just like last time, Yi Fan carried Fujiwara no Chico by the waist and carried Fujiwara no Chico's sword case on his back. Now that Fujiwara no Chico had fully recovered, Yi Fan did not need to control his speed. Relying on his abundant spiritual power, he fiercely urged his spiritual power. Under the starry sky, a white shadow streaked across the sky like a meteor. Unlike last time, the two of them were in a very good mood, especially Fujiwara no Chico. Originally, she thought that she would die in the Central Plains. Who would have thought that there was no way out, and there was light at the end of the tunnel? Not only did she not die, but she also found her ideal husband. Fujiwara no Chico looked at the starry sky, then looked at the handsome Yi Fan. She felt that she might be the happiest woman in the world. But even so, she still had one unfulfilled wish, and that was to take revenge and kill Matsumoto Takeyoshi with her own hands. As long as she fulfilled this wish and avenged her father's death, she would no longer have any worries. She and Yi Fan would help each other in times of need and spend the rest of their lives together in Lingyun Cave. What are you thinking about? Yi Fan looked at the absent-minded Fujiwara no Chico and said with a smile, "Don't tell me you're thinking about your husband again. I'm thinking about when I can take revenge, kill the enemy with my own hands, and let my father's injustice be cleared." Fujiwara no Chico said and leaned her head on Yi Fan's shoulder. "Then I will no longer have any worries. You can rest assured." Yi Fan gently kissed Fujiwara no Chico's face. "Father-in-law's death will be avenged. At that time, I will let you kill Matsumoto Takeyoshi with your own hands." Fujiwara no Chico promised in a low voice. Under the stimulation of Yi Fan's strong spiritual power, the two people moved as fast as lightning. In addition, Yi Fan was already familiar with the road to Miaojiang. In less than 2 hours, they entered the Miaojiang area. "Is this Miaojiang?" Fujiwara no Chico saw Yi Fan slowing down and asked softly. "Yes, this is Miaojiang," Yi Fan replied. "Jinshan should be aware of our position by now," Yi Fan said and slowly withdrew his spiritual power, holding Fujiwara no Chiko, and slowly landed on an open space. After he put Fujiwara no Chiko on the ground, he began to use his spiritual power in his eyes and looked around. When he saw the red shadow on the horizon, his face showed a smile. "What's wrong?" Fujiwara no Chiko asked after seeing Yi Fan smile. "What are you smiling at?" "Grandma is here," Yi Fan said with a smile. "So fast." Fujiwara no Chiko was surprised. "I told you that Grandma's cultivation is far beyond what you and I can imagine," Yi Fan said with emotion. "The witchcraft of Miaojiang is not worse than the Taoism of the Central Plains. It can even be said to be better in some aspects." "I have a question that I don't understand," Fujiwara no Chiko asked. "Jin-chan is so young and beautiful. Why is she called Grandma?" "Ha ha!" Yi Fan laughed. "Don't be fooled by Jin-chan's beauty. She is already more than 50 years old. What should I call her if not Grandma?" "What?" Fujiwara no Chiko couldn't believe it. More than 50 years old? She and Grandpa had a relationship in the past. Grandpa is now more than 50 years old. You can imagine Grandma's age. "You told me before that Grandpa has been cultivating the sword aura in the weapon forging manual for many years and has been possessed by Big Brother Gene. That's why even though he's already in his 50s, he looks like he's in his 40s at most." "You don't understand," Yi Fan said with a smile. "The witchcraft of Miaojiang is extensive and profound. Witchcraft has existed since there were people. It is many years older than Taoism. With Grandma's cultivation, not to mention 30 or 40 years old, even a 17 or 18-year-old girl can do it." "Is it so magical?" Fujiwara no Chiko asked in surprise. 17 or 18 years old can do it. Yi Fan looked at Fujiwara no Chiko and laughed. "What? Do you want to learn it too? To be young forever in the future? What's wrong with that?" Fujiwara no Chiko said with a smile. "Doesn't want to. TSK, TSK, TSK. Yi Fan shook his head and laughed. "Imagine, when we are 70 or 80 years old, I am an old man without teeth, and you are a 17 or 18-year-old girl. Those who know will think you are my wife, and those who don't will think you are my granddaughter." "Are you stupid?" Fujiwara no Chiko said with a smile. "Don't you know how to learn it too?" "That's right." Yi Fan pretended to be enlightened. "I can learn it too. At that time, you and I, who are over 100 years old, will still be like 17 or 18 years old, living in a cave on the mountain." "What's wrong with that?" Fujiwara no Chiko said with a smile. "It's good, but..." Yi Fan frowned. "But what?" Fujiwara no Chiko asked. "But..." Yi Fan suddenly said with a smirk, "Why do I feel like there's a pair of old demons living in the cave? Ha ha." Fujiwara no Chiko laughed when she heard that. "Old demons are old demons. You two have a good relationship." Jin-chan's voice came from the sky. "I heard you two flirting from afar." As soon as she finished speaking, a red sedan chair slowly descended from the sky. After it landed, the curtain of the sedan chair was lifted, and a beautiful middle-aged woman slowly stepped out of the sedan chair. It was Jin-chan. "Hello, mother-in-law." Seeing her savior appear, Fujiwara no Chiko immediately stepped forward and bowed. "Good, good." Jin-chan looked at Fujiwara no Chiko and said with a smile, "You look good. You should have completely recovered. Mother-in-law, you don't know, but Chiko has been talking about coming to see you every day." Yi Fan said with a smile. "What's there to see about an old woman like me?" Jin-chan said with a smile. "If you want to see me, take a good look at the scenery of Miaojiang. This place is much better than your Central Plains. The Central Plains is too noisy. I can't stand it." "Who said that mother-in-law is not good-looking?" Fujiwara no Chiko said as she took Jin-chan's arm. "If you ask me, mother-in-law, you are many times more beautiful than the four beauties. It's not an exaggeration to say that you outshine the moon and put the flowers to shame." "You little girl," Jin-chan said with a smile. "You've only been with Fan Air for a month. When did you learn his glib tongue?" "Mother-in-law, don't wrongly accuse me." Yi Fan smiled and waved his hand. "Compared with her, I'm not as good as her. Just now, she was making a fuss about learning to stay young forever from you. She also wants me to learn, and in the future, we will be a pair of old demons. Oh no. Yifan quickly changed his words. It's an immortal couple. Huh? Jinshan laughed and said, that's not difficult. When the time comes, I will teach Chico a set of youth-preserving techniques. I guarantee that you will stay young forever, and the more you live, the younger you will become. Really? That's great. Fujiwara no Chico said happily, thank you, mother-in-law. As for you, I can't help you. Jinshan turned her head and said to Yifan, my set of youth-preserving techniques can only work on women. If you practice it, you will also become a woman. It's over, Yifan said with a smile. At that time, we will really become grandmother and granddaughter. But you don't have to worry, Jinshan said to Yifan with a smile. You have spiritual energy in your body, and you also have the spiritual energy of the Blood Phoenix. In addition, Brother Kim passed the Qi channeling chapter of the Xuantian Secret Essentials to you. At that time, not only will your cultivation be unfathomable, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to even think about becoming old. Jinshan continued, I once heard from Master that the Xuantian Secret Essentials is an ancient secret technique. It's not a small matter. Fanair, you are really lucky to be able to obtain this thing. It seems that Chico and I are destined to become a pair of old demons. Yifan said with a smile. All right, don't stand here, Jinshan said. Since you have come to Miaojiang, listen to me. I will take you to eat something first, and then take you to walk around. Although your Lingyun Cave is a blessed land, my place isn't bad either. This time, you should bring Qianzi around and relax. Wait a minute, mother-in-law. Yifan suddenly thought of Xiao Zhao. Where is Xiao Zhao? Did she not come with mother-in-law? Xiao Zhao. Jinshan's face was full of doubts. Come with me? Isn't she in the Lingyun Cave? Chapter 79. What? Yifan suddenly became nervous after hearing this. She didn't come to find you, Granny. Find me? Jinshan became more and more confused. What did she come to find me? Granny, Fujiwara no Chico quickly asked. Back in the Lingyun Cave, did you promise Xiao Zhao to let her come to Miaojiang to play? Yes, Jinshan replied. At that time, she did say that she wanted to come to my place. I even gave her a leaf, but she didn't come to find me later. I thought this girl was just saying it casually. Why? Is she not in the Lingyun Cave? A month ago, she told me that she wanted to come to Granny's place. Chico and I couldn't persuade her, so we agreed. Yifan frowned. Chico and I came this time to bring you and Xiao Zhao home for the spring festival. Who would have thought? Could something have happened to Xiao Zhao? Fujiwara no Chico asked. I don't know. Yifan shook his head. Now it seems that there are two possibilities. The first is that Xiao Zhao lied to us. She didn't come to Miaojiang at all. The second possibility, Yifan said with a frown. Something happened to her. Does she have any enemies? Jinshan asked. Enemies? Impossible. Yifan shook his head. As far as I know, Xiao Zhao has been in the Lingyun Cave almost all the time except for going up the mountain to pick herbs. She has no contact with outsiders at all. How could she have enemies? Then it should be fine, Fujiwara no Chico said. Maybe she wanted to go out and relax, but she was afraid that you wouldn't agree. So she lied to you and said that she came to Granny's place. I hope so. Yifan sighed and said, I hope she's lying to me. He was now very regretful. If he had known earlier, he would have said anything to keep Xiao Zhao. Chico is right. Jinshan comforted Yifan. After all, Xiao Zhao has a high level of cultivation and is well educated. Nothing will happen to her. When she gets tired of playing outside, she will come back to you. How about this? You go back to the Lingyun Cave and take a look. If Xiao Zhao isn't here, you can go and look for her, Fujiwara no Chico said. I'll stay here with Granny. When you find Xiao Zhao, bring her over. Then we'll go back together for the spring festival. Yes. Yifan nodded and replied. Then I won't be able to accompany you for the next few days. It's okay, Fujiwara no Chico said. I have Granny to accompany me. It just so happens that I'll learn the youth-preserving technique from Granny in the next few days. Maybe when you come back, I'll be 17 or 18 years old. Okay. Yifan touched Fujiwara no Chico's long hair and said to her, Wait for me to come back. Okay. Fujiwara no Chico said with concern. Be careful. Okay, it's almost dawn, Jin-chan said. Fan air, you go and do your business first. I'll take care of Chico. Don't worry. Yi-fan nodded. He leaped into the air with his spiritual energy and flew into the air again. A shadow rushed straight in the direction of Fengming Mountain. Okay, we should go, Jin-chan said with a smile. I'll take you to eat something first, and then I'll take you around to enjoy the scenery of Miaojiang. Then teach me the youth-preserving technique, Fujiwara no Chico said with a smile. Okay. I'll teach you. Jin-chan smiled and pulled the surprised Fujiwara no Chico into the big red palanquin. As soon as the curtain fell, the red palanquin immediately rose into the air. A red shadow flashed and cut through the sky. At this time, Yi-fan, who was in the air, had already pushed his spiritual power to the extreme and rushed to the Lingyun cave as fast as lightning. Xiao Zhao's disappearance made him feel uneasy. Based on his understanding of Xiao Zhao, she would definitely not lie to him. Moreover, Xiao Zhao lived in the Lingyun cave all year round. Other than the Great Snow Mountain in Tibet, she was not familiar with other places. Wait a minute, Tibet? Yi-fan scolded himself for being stupid. Yes, could Xiao Zhao have gone to Tibet? She grew up in Tibet. Maybe she went back to Tibet to revisit her old home before going to Miaojiang to find Jin-chan. Yi-fan made up his mind to return to the Lingyun cave first. If Xiao Zhao was not in the Lingyun cave, he would go to Tibet. With his full spiritual power, Yi-fan only took 4 hours to rush back to Fengming Mountain. However, when he slowly descended and arrived at the entrance of Lingyun cave, the scene in front of him immediately made Yi-fan's blood boil. On the stone wall of the cave entrance, there was a piece of broken white silk that was stained with blood. It had been stabbed deeply into the stone wall by a sword. He was very familiar with this sword. This was Xiao Zhao's sword. When he first met Xiao Zhao, he had seen this white sword. Now it actually appeared here. Something really happened to Xiao Zhao. Yi-fan hurriedly pulled out the sword and held the piece of white silk in his hand. This white silk was obviously torn from Xiao Zhao's body. The white silk was stained with blood, and the line of blood was shocking. If you want to save her, come to the Great Snow Mountain in Tibet. If you don't show up in 2 days, I will swallow this evil beast alive. Bastard! Yi-fan was so angry that smoke was coming out of his 7 orifices as he scolded sternly. Xiao Zhao had been kidnapped to Tibet by someone. From the bloodstains on the white silk, Xiao Zhao was already injured. Who actually wanted to kidnap Xiao Zhao? Fengming Mountain had several enchantments. Not to mention entering, ordinary people would not even be able to see it, but the person who came was able to easily barge in. The person who came must not have good intentions, so this person's cultivation must not be low. Yi-fan opened the stone door and entered the Lingyun cave to take a closer look. Fortunately, this person did not enter the Lingyun cave. It must be because Brother Kim had set up an unbreakable enchantment inside the Lingyun cave. Yi-fan once again returned to the cave entrance and carefully examined the traces of the cave entrance. He wanted to find some clues, but the cave entrance was spotless. After searching for a long time, he still couldn't find any clues. Xiao Zhao was naturally kind, natural and unrestrained, educated and reasonable, and treated people with generosity. She definitely wouldn't have any enemies. Just who would come here from thousands of miles away in Tibet. Yi-fan racked his brains. Could it be? Yi-fan suddenly remembered that in his previous life, Eldritch had taken the heads of the prince who killed Xiao Zhao's parents and the yellow-robed Taoist in one move at the Great Snow Mountain of Tibet. Could it be that this person wanted to kidnap Xiao Zhao and take revenge on him? There was no time to lose. No matter what the situation was, he had to immediately set off for the Great Snow Mountain of Tibet. Now that Xiao Zhao had fallen into their hands, she must have suffered a lot. If he went late, who knew what those bastards would do? Yi-fan thought as he walked towards the cave entrance. But just as he reached the cave entrance, he turned around and went back into the cave. He took out the box containing the flawless robe that Sky Dragon had given him. Since that person could kidnap Xiao Zhao and forcefully break through the enchantment to leave him a blood letter, he must have been very confident in his own cultivation. He must have made careful arrangements. If he rashly went there, he would definitely suffer a great loss. Now that Brother Kim wasn't here and he didn't know his whereabouts, he couldn't go to Jinshan for help. After all, Matsumoto Takayoshi's people were still chasing after Fujiwara and no Chiko. With Jinshan accompanying Fujiwara and no Chiko, those people would have some scruples. His father, Yi Kong, and grandfather, Yi Yun, were far away in the north. The two of them couldn't fly. It would be too late if they rushed to Tibet. Now, he could only go there alone. He remembered that when the white-robed dragon gave him this flawless Taoist robe, Brother Jean had said that this flawless Taoist robe was invulnerable to swords, spears, water, and fire. He also said that this Taoist robe had another great benefit, but he did not say it out loud. Now that he was going to save Xiao Zhao alone, a wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. He would put on this robe first. At least it would have an additional layer of protection. Yifan thought to himself as he opened the box. In the faint white light, the flawless robe lay there quietly. Yifan reached out and took the robe out of the box. He felt that the robe was as light as a feather. It was soft to the touch and snow white. The entire robe didn't have any seams. It was as if it was made by nature. No wonder it was said to be flawless. It really lived up to its reputation. Yifan put on the robe, but he didn't expect that as soon as he put it on, his body would immediately emit a faint white light that enveloped him. What surprised him even more was that after the white light flashed, the robe instantly disappeared. It was as if it had never been put on. Yifan was still wearing the original green robe. What was going on? Could it be that the flawless robe had disappeared? As Yifan thought about it, he reached out to touch his robe. After touching it, Yifan smiled. The robe was still there, but it had become extremely transparent. Therefore, it looked as if he wasn't wearing it. Chapter 80. It took Yifan 3 hours to reach the border of Tibet. Along the way, he deliberately flew in the air above the mountains where there were few people in order to deceive people. He also took a lot of detours. Because of this, he did not push his spiritual energy to the extreme. After all, he was here to save people this time. He had to save his spiritual energy to prepare for a fight with a strong enemy. After entering Tibet, Yifan landed in a remote place on the Great Snow Mountain and then walked down the mountain. At this time, it was already late. He found a very old and run by the Han people and stayed there. The reason why he did this was that this was the other party's territory. He could not be too flamboyant to avoid alerting people. Secondly, he had traveled a long way and did not drink a drop of water along the way. He should eat something and rest. The other party asked him to come here in 2 days. He only took 1 day in order to buy time to investigate on the spot. There is a saying in the art of war: know yourself and know your enemy, and you will be victorious in 100 battles. After Yifan checked into the inn, he ordered a table of dishes. After all, he had not eaten for a day. After wolfing down the food, he began to sit cross-legged and meditate to replenish his spiritual energy. Although he did not rush along the way, and because he opened his pores to absorb the spiritual energy from the outside world, his spiritual energy was not consumed too much. However, the battle at the Yi family's ancestral home made him deeply realize how important it was for him to have sufficient spiritual energy. At the moment of life and death, perhaps a trace of spiritual energy could change the situation and turn the tide. Just after midnight, Yifan, who was sitting cross-legged on the couch, opened his eyes. At this time, the spiritual energy in his sea of qi was completely full. After a month of rest, there were more than 10 drops of compressed and purified pure spiritual energy in his sea of qi. It was more than twice as good as when he was in the Yi family's ancestral home. Yifan closed the door and walked lightly to the backyard of the inn. After seeing that there was no one around, he jumped up from the ground and jumped into the air. He began to slowly fly in the air above the great snow mountain with his spiritual energy. It was the middle of the night, and Tibet was sparsely populated. Other than the temples that were brightly lit, the other inhabited places were already dark. Yifan had thought about it. The place where Xiao Zhao was locked up must be guarded. Since there were guards, there must be lights. As long as he could find a suspicious light source, it would not be difficult to follow the clues and find where Xiao Zhao was locked up. He channeled his spirit energy into his eyes and carefully examined the bright spots on the ground. However, he did not find anything suspicious even after checking the sky above the town 3 times. Since there was nothing here, he could only go to the Great Snow Mountain. There were many caves on the Great Snow Mountain. It was not impossible to lock Xiao Zhao in one of the caves. Thinking of this, Yifan abruptly rose into the air and flew straight to the top of the Great Snow Mountain. After reaching the top of the Great Snow Mountain, Yifan first channeled his spirit energy into his eyes and looked into the distance. He looked around the entire Great Snow Mountain, but he still found nothing. After all, the Great Snow Mountain was like its name. It was covered in snow all year round. Even if there was a cave, it could be blocked by snow or rocks. Since he could not see with his eyes, he would use his ears to listen. Yifan thought. Ever since he possessed spiritual power, his 5 senses had become 10 times sharper than a normal person's. As long as he wanted to, he would be able to clearly hear the rustling of the branches of a bird that landed on a tree dozens of feet away, let alone normal sounds. However, the sounds in the outside world were too complicated. His ears could not be selectively closed like his eyes, so Yifan did not use them very much. It was enough to maintain his senses at 4 or 5 times sharper than a normal person's. Now that he was anxious to find someone, Yifan channeled his spirit energy into his ears and closed his eyes. He carefully listened to all the sounds around the Great Snow Mountain. For a time, all kinds of sounds entered his ears. There were the rustling of small animals crawling, the rustling of snow sliding down, and the buzzing of the large and small caves being blown by the wind. All kinds of sounds were incessant in his ears. Yifan frowned. Standing at the highest point of the mountain, he carefully identified these sounds. After the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, Yifan did not hear any sound from Xiao Zhao. Instead, he was distracted by the numerous and chaotic sounds. However, just as he was about to withdraw his spirit energy from his ears, a small and rhythmic sound entered his ears. Hoo-hoo! The sound came one after another. It was the sound of snoring. Yifan adjusted the direction of his ears and aimed them at the source of the sound. He carefully identified it. After all, some animals also snored when they slept. After listening for a while, Yifan smiled and his eyes lit up. This was definitely not an animal snoring. The reason was very simple. In addition to the sound of snoring, there was also a burst of coughing. He was very familiar with this coughing sound. It was Xiao Zhao's voice. Yifan opened his eyes. His body was a foot away from the ground. He bent down and quickly rushed towards the source of the sound. The source of the sound was about 100 feet away from him. There was a huge rock standing diagonally there. Yifan was extremely fast. He arrived in the blink of an eye. He stood on top of the rock and squatted down. He looked down, but he did not find any cave entrance. Yifan saw this and frowned. It seemed that it would not be easy to enter the cave. If this place did not have a barrier, then there would be a mechanism. He floated down from the rock and used his finger to gently tap on the huge rock. From a sound, it seemed that this huge rock was solid. It was not a barrier. He bent down and tapped on the rock beneath his feet. Tapping sounds came. It was actually hollow below. It seemed that it was not that there was no cave entrance. It was just that the cave entrance was blocked by this rock. There must be some kind of mechanism. As Yifan thought about it, he carefully examined the huge rock. However, after looking for a long time, he still could not find a way to open the mechanism. Yifan was a little angry. He directly pulled out the snake shadow sword from his waist. This snake shadow sword was extremely sharp. It was as easy as flipping his hand to cut through the rock. He gently placed the snake shadow sword on the side of the rock. With a bit of strength, the incomparably sharp snake shadow sword cut through the incomparably hard rock like tofu. Yifan held the snake shadow sword and circled around the rock. The rock slid down the smooth surface that Yi Fan had cut with the snake shadow sword. It silently fell into the thick snow. At this time, there was only a palm-thick rock left on the ground. Yi Fan once again raised the snake shadow sword vertically and gently inserted it into the ground. He drew a circle, and with a soft pop, the last part of the stone wall was cut open by Yi Fan. He gently took out the stone, and immediately, a hole about 3 meters deep was revealed. Light from a fire shone out from the hole. Following the stairs of the cave, Yi Fan carefully entered the cave. Compared to the outside, this cave was not only warm, it was also brightly lit. The dense pine oil torches on the walls lit up the cave like it was daytime. Yi Fan held his sword with one hand and quietly walked into the cave through the secret passage. The closer he got to the cave, the louder the snoring sounds became. At this time of night, the people guarding Xiao Zhao must be sleeping like dead pigs. He could use this opportunity to save Xiao Zhao. Yi Fan walked about a dozen feet and finally arrived in front of a stone door. The snoring and coughing sound were coming from here. It seemed like Xiao Zhao was locked up here. He gently pushed the stone door. The stone door slid and made a soft grinding sound. The snoring sounds were still coming from inside, and the smell of alcohol filled the air. When the stone door was open about a foot wide, Yi Fan quietly slipped in and locked the stone door from the inside. If a fight broke out, he could not let a fish escape the net. At the door, a yellow-robed Taoist priest was sitting on the ground, leaning against the stone wall. He was snoring with his head tilted, and his body reeked of alcohol. On the ground beside him, there were several jugs of alcohol, and in the innermost part of the stone room, there was a woman tied to a stone pillar. It was none other than Xiao Zhao. The moment he saw Xiao Zhao, Yi Fan was so angry that his face turned green. His whole body trembled, and his teeth itched. At this time, Xiao Zhao was naked, and her clothes were not even covering her body. Her hair was disheveled, and her eyes were closed. She could not stop coughing. Bastard! In his anger, Yi Fan gently waved the snake shadow sword at the sleeping yellow-robed Taoist priest. With a gurgle, the yellow-robed Taoist priest did not even make a sound. His head was cut off, and his corpse fell to the ground. With a puff, the blood in the corpse's body sprayed all over the stone wall. Xiao Zhao. Yi Fan shouted her name. Cough! 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 Xiao Zhao was coughing violently as she raised her head. She slowly opened her eyes. When she saw that the person who came was Yi Fan, she immediately shouted, "Brother Yi Shu?" Yi Fan immediately covered Xiao Zhao's mouth and whispered, "Don't make a sound first. I will save you." Xiao Zhao nodded. Her tears flowed, and she could not make a sound. Ding ding. With 2 crisp sounds, the iron chains binding Xiao Zhao's body were cut off by Yi Fan's sword and fell to the ground. Once the chains were removed, Xiao Zhao's body went soft, and she almost fell to the ground. Yi Fan quickly helped Xiao Zhao up. He took off his green robe and put on Xiao Zhao. "Brother," Xiao Zhao sobbed. "It's okay now." Yi Fan patted Xiao Zhao. "Don't cry. Put on your clothes. I will take you out." Xiao Zhao stopped crying and nodded. She turned around and found the clothes scattered on the ground. She put them on and handed the green robe to Yi Fan. Yi Fan took the green robe and put it on. He held Xiao Zhao's hand and quickly walked towards the stone door. When the two of them reached the stone door, they heard the sound of chaotic footsteps coming from outside. What a pity. Such a beauty can only be seen but not touched. What a waste. One of the people said, "Do you not want to live anymore? This is a vixen. That bit of yuan yang of yours is not even enough for her to suck once." Another person said, "As the saying goes, if you die under a peony, you will still be a romantic ghost." I don't know if third junior brother's heart has been moved inside. Master naturally has his reasons for letting him watch the vixen. Although he is a glutton for wine, he listens to Master the most. If Master does not let him touch her, third junior brother will definitely not dare to touch her. At most, he will just feast his eyes. If junior brother were to watch over her, I think he would have been sucked into an old man by now. An old man is an old man. If one is not romantic, it is a waste of youth. Junior brother, you are still the most open-minded. He. The two of them walked up to the stone door with lewd smiles and pushed it open. The stone door did not budge. Why is the door locked? The senior brother asked. Is it? The junior brother also pushed the door. Could it be that third junior brother is enjoying himself inside? Impossible. Maybe he drank too much and fell asleep. Third junior brother. Third junior brother. The two of them knocked on the door and shouted loudly. Rumble. The stone door made a sound and opened a gap about a foot wide. I say, third junior brother. That junior brother saw the door open and stepped into the stone room. Why is it only now? Before he could finish his sentence, the snake's shadow sword pierced through his throat. After piercing through, the sword didn't stop and continued to stab outwards. With another poochie sound, the throat of the senior brother standing behind him was also pierced. Yifan only needed one sword to pierce through the throats of two people. Yifan pulled out the snake shadow sword, and the two corpses fell into a pool of blood. He purposely opened the stone door a foot wide and let the two of them line up. Then, he directly pierced through the two of them to save himself the trouble. In the blink of an eye, the three of them became ghosts under Yifan's sword. Let's go. Yifan led Xiao Zhao and walked towards the exit. After the two of them left the cave, Yifan put the snake's shadow sword back on his waist and held Xiao Zhao's hand. Just as he was about to fly up, he heard a slow voice from behind. What? You want to leave after killing 3 of my disciples? Chapter 81. Those 3 are your disciples? Yifan turned around and asked coldly. That's right. The silver-robed Taoist replied without turning around. So you're saying that you were the one who kidnapped Xiao Zhao? Yifan raised his eyebrows and asked. It's me, the silver-robed Taoist said. After Yifan heard this, he turned around and looked at Xiao Zhao, who was hiding behind him and trembling. Xiao Zhao revealed a look of fear and nodded at Yifan. It seemed that this silver-robed old Taoist had kidnapped Xiao Zhao halfway and then forcefully barged into the barrier of Fengming Mountain and left behind a blood letter. Why did you kidnap Xiao Zhao? Yifan asked coldly. Does she have a grudge against you? What grudge could a vixen have against me? The silver-robed old Taoist said, She has no grudge against me. The one who has a grudge against me is you. After the old Taoist finished speaking, he slowly turned around. This person was around 40 years old. His face was thin and his eyes were like lightning. He wore a silver crown on his head and a bright silver Taoist robe. A strand of white beard fluttered in front of his chest. He held a white jade horsetail whisk in his hand. Me? Yifan laughed. I'm afraid this Taoist priest has mistaken me for someone else. Taoist priest and I don't know each other. So how could we have a grudge against each other? Ha ha ha. The silver-robed Taoist laughed loudly. After laughing, he looked at Yifan and said while gritting his teeth, Even if you turned into ashes, I would still recognize you. Back then, you killed my disciple and caused him to die without a complete corpse. Tell me, do I have a grudge against you? Eldritch. After Yifan heard this, he frowned. It seemed that it was as he had expected. The person who came was here to take revenge for the yellow-robed Taoist. What? Do you think you can escape the mistakes you made back then just because you reincarnated? What a joke. The silver-robed Taoist said loudly. Back then, you killed countless people and made many enemies. Eventually, you ended up destroying your cultivation and self-detonating. You asked for it. But every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. That year, my disciple died miserably at your hands, and I was in closed-door cultivation at that time. When I came out of closed-door cultivation, I found out that you dispersed your cultivation and self-detonated. Today, I've found you, and I'll seek justice for him no matter what. Justice? Yifan sneered. You think you're fit to talk about justice? Back then, as a member of the Taoist sect, your disciple didn't help the masses. Instead, he killed the innocent and violated the heavenly Tao. He skinned Xiao Zhao's parents and took their inner cores by force. Everyone had the right to punish such scum of the Taoist sect. I may have done many wrong things in my previous life, but I feel that killing your disciple was not only the right thing to do, but it was also enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. It was a good deed. A load of nonsense. The silver-robed Taoist was furious. He pointed at Xiao Zhao, who was behind Yifan. Back then, this evil creature's parents practiced evil arts and harmed many people. My junior brother killed them to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. I didn't expect that you would not distinguish between right and wrong and listen to this evil creature's side of the story. You caused my disciple to die miserably and destroyed his 100 years of cultivation. You're the one who killed the innocent, and you're still twisting words and twisting logic, saying that you're enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. Nonsense. Xiao Zhao, who was behind Yifan, could no longer control the anger in her heart. My parents were kind by nature. They never killed, and they wouldn't practice any evil arts to harm people. If you don't believe me, you can go to the temple in the Great Snow Mountain and find an old lama to ask if it's true. As for your disciple, you can also go to the trusted aide of the prince and ask him. If I hadn't met Brother Yi, I would have been killed by your disciple. As a member of the Taoist sect, you can't distinguish between right and wrong, good and evil. You're really a disgrace to the name of the Taoist sect. Evil creature. The silver-robed Taoist was so angry that his beard trembled. Originally, I saw that you didn't have any evil aura, so I spared your life. Now, it seems that you are the same as Eldritch, bewitching people's hearts. Your crime is punishable by death. After he finished speaking, he swung the white jade horsetail whisk in his hand at the two of them. Immediately, a silver light flashed, and a silver arc of light shot straight at Yifan. Stubborn. As Yifan spoke, he carried Xiao Zhao and leaped into the air. He retreated 30 feet and dodged the white jade horsetail whisk's arc of light. Boom! The silver light scattered. The ground beneath their feet was shattered into pieces, and snowflakes flew in all directions. The hard rock ground was actually left with a hole that was more than a foot deep. After the silver-robed Taoist's first attack failed, he made a second move. This time, he swung the horsetail whisk 3 times. Swish! 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 The 3 silver arcs charged at Yifan from 3 different directions. This time, the silver arcs were even more ferocious and faster than before. With the top, middle, and bottom sealed, Yifan did not dare delay. With a swoosh, he pulled out the snake shadow sword from his waist and used his spiritual energy to power the snake shadow sword. With his spiritual energy, the snake shadow sword was powered by Yifan's abundant spiritual energy. A white light blazed and a cold air burst out. It was bone-chilling. Yifan swung the snake shadow sword vertically at the 3 silver arcs that had arrived in the blink of an eye. A cold white arc of light shot towards the 3 silver arcs. Boom! 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 The 3 silver arcs collided with the snake shadow sword's white arc of light. Snowflakes and silver fragments flew everywhere. In the middle of the snowy ground between the silver-robed Taoist and Yifan, a 50 to 60 feet wide and a foot-deep pit was formed. Yifan exclaimed in his heart that it was a close call. The silver-robed Taoist in front of him was very powerful. Fortunately, he did not underestimate his opponent and used 50% of his spiritual energy to power the snake shadow sword. Otherwise, he would have been seriously injured even if he did not die. Taoist, listen to my explanation. The silver-robed Taoist in front of him did not know the truth of the matter. Yifan did not wish to fight with such a person. He wanted to explain himself. What's there to explain? The silver-robed Taoist said as he tapped the ground with the tip of his foot. With a leap, he flew into the air and hovered. Yifan was stunned. He did not expect the silver-robed Taoist to know how to fly. Xiao Zhao, stay away from me. Yifan frowned and said to Xiao Zhao behind him, wait for me far away. Xiao Zhao was also frightened by the silver-robed Taoist formation. She nodded and immediately retreated 10 feet away. The silver-robed Taoist began to activate the white jade horsetail whisk in his hand. Under his activation, the white jade horsetail whisk instantly shone with a silver light. The originally soft and smooth horsetail whisk suddenly straightened up like thousands of steel needles. It seemed like the silver-robed Taoist was about to use his ultimate move. Yi Fan thought to himself as he used his spirit energy to activate the snake shadow sword. He used 50% of his spirit energy and used his ultimate move, Heavenly Waterfall. Under his activation, the snake shadow sword let out a humming sound. Then, the white light shone brightly and the cold air spread out. He first used his spiritual energy to protect his body. Then, he used his spiritual energy to guide the cold air to cover his entire body, preventing the cold air from entering his body. This way, he could use the cold air to protect his body and prevent his body from being affected by the cold air. The greatest advantage of Heavenly Waterfall was that it could attack and defend at the same time. In the past, he did not have spiritual energy and could not control the cold air. Needless to say, a part of the cold air would backfire on him. Therefore, every time he used Heavenly Waterfall, he would either be frostbitten or directly frozen unconscious. Previously, he had used this move to freeze Hattori Kiangxio at Mount Qingyan. However, because the cold air backfired too much, he also fainted from the cold. However, today was different from the past. Now, Yi Fan had abundant spiritual energy. No matter how strong the cold air was, it would not affect him at all. He wanted to use this opportunity to test the power of the improved Heavenly Waterfall. Under the activation of his pure spiritual energy, his entire body was immediately shrouded in white light. A large amount of cold air rolled out from his body like smoke and fog. In the blink of an eye, the ground within a radius of 30 feet under Yi Fan's feet was frozen with a thick layer of ice. In the steaming cold air, Yi Fan held his sword with one hand and coldly looked at the silver-robed Taoist in the air. The silver-robed Taoist was now covered in silver light. The horsetail whisk in his hand shone even brighter. Thousands of horsetail whisks stood straight and pointed at Yi Fan. Rainstorm, heavenly net. The silver-robed Taoist roared. Following the roar of the silver-robed Taoist, thousands of dazzling silver lights shot out from the thousands of horsetail whisks in his hand and rushed toward Yi Fan. In the blink of an eye, Yi Fan on the ground and the 30 feet around him were completely enveloped by thousands of dazzling silver lights. Heavenly Waterfall. Yi Fan instantly increased his spiritual energy to 60%. As soon as Yi Fan's voice fell, the cold air that was pouring down from his body like smoke and fog, along with the cold air rolling on the ground, instantly flowed in reverse and formed a huge white protective sphere around Yi Fan. Countless cold air moved back and forth in this protective sphere. Boom! The thousands of silver lights arrived in an instant and collided with Yi Fan's protective sphere. Immediately, the silver light scattered in all directions and the white light scattered everywhere. The horsetail whisk in the silver-robed Taoist hand continued to emit dazzling silver lights, attacking Yi Fan. At the same time, Yi Fan also continuously urged the snake shadow sword to replenish the cold air scattered by the white lights. He clenched his teeth and increased his spiritual energy to 70%. The cold air in the protective sphere immediately increased by 5 feet, and a dazzling white light pillar rushed out from the sphere, forcibly pushing back the silver-robed Taoist silver light pillar. The white light pillar of cold air was getting closer and closer to the silver-robed Taoist. In the blink of an eye, it was less than 10 feet away from him. Seeing this, the silver-robed Taoist immediately made a hand seal with his left hand. In the blink of an eye, the white jade horsetail whisk's light pillar suddenly increased by 2 times. The thousands of silver lights gradually merged together and formed a silver light pillar that was as thick as the mouth of a bull. It pushed back Yi Fan's white light pillar. Yi Fan steeled his heart and increased his spiritual energy to 90%. At this moment, his protective sphere of light had already turned pure white. The snake's shadow sword was also buzzing, and the little snake's head that was coiled around it slowly began to protrude. The snake's shadow sword was about to be unsealed. At this moment, Yi Fan's cold beam of light had completely blocked the momentum of the silver beam of light. The point where the two beams of light met was right in the middle of the space between the two of them. Specks of silver light could be seen, while white light scattered in all directions. The light produced by the collision of the two beams of light was densely packed and sparkling. The momentum was extremely shocking. For a time, the two people were locked in a stalemate. One was glaring angrily and covered in silver light, like a god descending to the mortal world. The other was covered in white light and cold air, like a true immortal descending to the mortal world. The two people continued to urge their spiritual energy, neither giving way. Xiao Zhao, who was 10 feet away, was completely shocked by this battle and could not say a word. She stomped her feet anxiously. She wanted to go over and help him, but she was helpless. Not to mention that she was injured. Even if she was at her peak condition, she was afraid that it would only be a drop in the bucket with her cultivation. Chapter 82. What's going on? Yi Fan was alarmed. Why would a Taiji symbol appear? At this moment, the yin-yang fish in the Taiji symbol began to spin. This rotation was fine, but Yi Fan immediately felt his frost chi being sucked into a whirlpool. It was completely sucked into the spinning Taiji symbol. Yi Fan cursed inwardly as he immediately withdrew his spiritual energy. The Taiji symbol was like a bottomless pit. If this continued, his spiritual energy would be completely sucked dry. The silver-robed Taoist was not in a good state either. His silver beam of light, which was as thick as a bowl, was sucked into the spinning Taiji symbol. The silver-robed Taoist's expression immediately turned solemn. He hurriedly withdrew his move and put away his horsetail whisk. He slowly descended to the ground with a gloomy expression. After the two of them withdrew their moves, the gigantic Taiji symbol in midair stopped spinning. It shrank and finally transformed into a golden beam of light that flew into the sky. Junior brother, don't attack. Just as Yi Fan was feeling puzzled, a loud voice sounded from the sky. The voice was loud and clear as it lingered for a long time. Yi Fan looked up into the sky and saw a golden-robed Taoist standing on auspicious clouds not far away. He was slowly floating over. This person actually knew the cloud riding technique. Yi Fan could not help but draw a cold breath. The silver-robed Taoist in front of him was already strenuous for him. He did not have the confidence to defeat him. Now, there was a golden-robed Taoist. From the cloud riding technique, this person's cultivation level was high, far beyond his imagination. If they were to really fight, there was no need for the two of them to join forces. He would probably be defeated by this person in a few moves. However, what comforted Yi Fan was that from the aura he sensed, the golden-robed Taoist's aura was peaceful. It was not like the silver-robed Taoist in front of him that had a murderous aura. Furthermore, from what he said, he was here to stop the silver-robed Taoist and not to be his enemy. However, it was better to be safe than sorry. He had to be careful. Thinking of this, Yi Fan immediately opened up all the pores on his body and secretly absorbed spiritual energy. In case something went wrong, he wouldn't be completely unprepared. The auspicious clouds soon arrived above the two of them. The golden-robed Taoist flicked his sleeves and dispersed the auspicious clouds. He slowly descended from the sky, looking extremely elegant. This person, a golden piece of gauze fluttered behind his head, and his Taoist robe was tied with silk ribbons. Clouds and mist appeared under the hemp shoes, and the brilliance of the treasured sword pierced through the 9 heavens. This person had a handsome face, red lips, and white teeth. He carried a sword on his back and held a horsetail whisk in his hand. He was dressed in a golden Taoist robe and looked like an immortal. Just like the silver-robed Taoist, there was also a huge Taiji symbol on his Taoist robe. After the golden-robed Taoist landed on the ground, he immediately bowed to Yi Fan and addressed him as the immeasurable deity. My junior brother was reckless for a moment. I hope this fellow Taoist won't take offense. Senior brother, there's something you don't know. He's the reincarnation of Eldritch from back then, said the silver-robed Taoist. I cannot take revenge for killing my beloved disciple. Junior brother, said the golden-robed Taoist. Haven't you caused enough trouble? If Master were to find out about this, do you know what the consequences would be? When the silver-robed Taoist heard the golden-robed Taoist mention his master, he immediately revealed a hint of fear and fell silent. What happened in your previous life is already in the past. Don't mention it again. The golden-robed Taoist continued to say to the silver-robed Taoist, don't think that I don't know that your disciple has always been bloodthirsty. It's not just him. You know better than me what kind of people your disciples are. How many times have I told you that your evil disciple deserved it? You can't blame others. Yet, you listened to slander and secretly went down the mountain to form a grudge with others. Aren't you afraid that Master will come back and cripple your cultivation? After the silver-robed Taoist heard the golden-robed Taoist's words, he was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. He hurriedly lowered his head. Senior brother, you're right. I know my mistake. Please don't let Master know about this. Why aren't you apologizing to him? The golden-robed Taoist reprimanded. This. The silver-robed Taoist looked at Yi Fan with a troubled expression. What? The golden-robed Taoist frowned. You're unwilling? Senior brother, what are you saying? The silver-robed Taoist hurriedly said. I'll apologize. After saying that, he turned around and bowed to Yi Fan with cupped fists. I was reckless just now. I hope this fellow Taoist won't take offense. Seeing this, Yi Fan hurriedly returned the greeting. It was better to squash enmity than to keep it alive. He understood this principle very well. This fellow Taoist, the golden-robed Taoist, said to Yi Fan, it seems that you have a peerless cultivation at such a young age. This is really rare. You must have received guidance from an expert. It seems that you already know about your past life. Senior is right. Yi Fan saw that the golden-robed Taoist not only had a profound cultivation, but was also reasonable. He told the truth. A month ago, I received guidance from my sworn brother. I had a spiritual cultivation and also knew that my past life was eldritch. A month. The silver-robed Taoist couldn't help but turn pale with fright. He had cultivated for hundreds of years to reach his current cultivation. He didn't expect that this young man in front of him would be able to be on par with him after cultivating for only a month. The golden-robed Taoist heard Yi Fan's words and couldn't help but slightly frown. May I ask for brother's name? To be honest, I don't know my sworn brother's full name. I only call him Brother Kim. He's my sworn brother from my past life. Yi Fan said, Sworn brother from your past life? The golden-robed Taoist thought hard, as if he was recalling the events of the past. Perhaps I'm a loner. I've never heard of this expert before. I'm Yi Fan. May I ask for Senior's name? Yi Fan was cautious. It seemed that this person knew about his past life. No matter what, he had to know his name first. So you're from a Yi family. No wonder. The golden-robed Taoist said, I'm Jinji. After saying that, he pointed at the silver-robed Taoist. This is my junior brother, Jinji. I'll remember it. After Yi Fan finished speaking, he changed the topic. It's getting late. I have to bring my sworn sister back to recuperate. I won't disturb the two seniors any further. After saying that, he turned around and prepared to leave with Xiao Zhao. Wait, the golden-robed Taoist suddenly said. Senior, is there anything else? Yi Fan turned around. I have something to say, but I'm not sure if I should say it. The golden-robed Taoist said. Senior, there's no harm in saying it. Yi Fan replied. I saw a trace of black gas in your spiritual altar. It must be caused by the demonic nature left behind in your past life. I hope you can control your nature and not repeat the mistakes of the past. Remember, the golden-robed Taoist instructed. This. After hearing that, Yi Fan was shocked. He often said some murderous words from time to time. After a long time, it turned out that it was caused by the demonic nature of his past life. No wonder it was like this. Thinking of this, Yi Fan immediately said, I'll remember it. Thank you for your guidance. The golden-robed Taoist nodded. I'll take my leave. After bowing, Yi Fan took the injured Xiao Zhao and flew into the sky with his spiritual energy. Senior brother, the silver-robed Taoist said, the sword in his hand. Han Long, the golden-robed Taoist, looked at the distant Yi Fan and said slowly, Han. Han Long. The silver-robed Taoist was shocked. Impossible. Han Long is 100 times stronger than this. If it's really Han Long, I'm afraid I can't even withstand one move. It's the Han Long sword. The golden-robed Taoist said calmly. However, I don't know which expert sealed it. It's really the Han Long sword? The silver-robed Taoist couldn't help but feel scared after hearing that. Fortunately, Yi Fan's cultivation hasn't reached the level where he could unseal the Han Long otherwise. I'm afraid. It's not just that sword. I saw the auspicious aura lingering around his body. He must have a secret treasure on him. If I'm not wrong, this item isn't from the mortal world. The golden-robed Taoist said. What? The silver-robed Taoist was dumbfounded. If it's not from the mortal world, could it be? He didn't dare to continue thinking. The Yi family has a lot of secrets. It's not just a family of weapons. According to what I know, a heavenly dragon appeared in the Yi family a month ago. The golden-robed Taoist said seriously, this person is the reincarnation of Eldritch. He still has a trace of demonic nature. Fortunately, I came in time. Otherwise, if you activated his demonic nature, not only would you lose your life, you would also cause a lot of people to suffer. At that time, you would be a sinner for all eternity. Not only you, even Master would be implicated. The silver-robed Taoist broke out in cold sweat. His hair stood on end, and he kept wiping his sweat with his hand. He has the Han Long, a secret treasure, and is a member of the Yi family. In addition, he has the mysterious sworn brother he mentioned. The golden-robed Taoist looked up at the sky and sighed. I hope he doesn't walk the same path as before. Otherwise, it'll be another catastrophe. Senior brother, the silver-robed Taoist asked, in your opinion, will he fall into the demonic path? That's hard to say. The golden-robed Taoist turned around and said slowly, although the black gas in his spiritual altar has been sealed by 3 extremely overbearing spiritual powers, the difference between good and evil is only between a thought. Once the demonic nature is activated and he can't control his mind, the 3 seals won't be able to hold on. How long will it be? Whether he's an immortal or a demon, it's all up to him. All right, let's not talk about this for now. Master will be back in a few days. The golden-robed Taoist said to the silver-robed Taoist, you come back with me now. These few days, shut yourself in and reflect on your mistakes. I'll punish you to copy the Book of Tao 100 times as punishment. If you dare to mess around in the future, I'll tell Master. Yes, senior brother. The silver-robed Taoist hurriedly replied. Chapter 83. In midair, Yi Fan grabbed Xiao Zhao's hand and flew at high speed. Although Xiao Zhao was injured, she had already cultivated into a human form and had a certain level of cultivation, so she didn't need Yi Fan to carry her. However, Yi Fan had to give some of his spiritual energy to Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao could only support herself with this spiritual energy. Brother Yi, Xiao Zhao whispered like a child who had made a mistake. Are you angry at me? Yi Fan frowned and didn't say a word the entire time. She thought that Yi Fan was really angry. If you don't listen to me in the future, I really won't care about you anymore, Yi Fan said. Fortunately, I came in time. Otherwise, I know I was wrong. Xiao Zhao was also very scared when she thought about it. I won't dare to do it again. That yellow-robed man didn't do anything to you, right? Yi Fan asked. No, he just took my clothes. Xiao Zhao didn't finish her sentence. That's good, Yi Fan said. Where are we going? Xiao Zhao asked. We're going to Jin Chan's place, Yi Fan said. Chico and Granny are waiting for us there. This time, we're going home for the new year. Really? Xiao Zhao asked excitedly. Really, Yi Fan replied. That's great. Xiao Zhao was overjoyed. I've never spent the new year in the human world since I was young. I heard that it's very lively during the new year. There are lanterns, firecrackers, lanterns, and decorations. It's very festive. Yi Fan smiled bitterly. How is this a person who had cultivated for over 100 years? She was just like a child. She was sobbing just now, but now she was cheering. In fact, he wasn't angry with Xiao Zhao. He was just trying to scare Xiao Zhao. What really made him frown was the words of the golden-robed Taoist. Logically speaking, Brother Kim's cultivation should not be lower than that of the golden-robed Taoist. If the golden-robed Taoist could see the black gas in his beer, then Brother Kim must be able to see it as well. If he continued to speculate, then the white-robed celestial dragon would be able to see it as well. But why didn't they tell him? Could it be that there was some secret? If he saw his Brother Kim again, he must ask him clearly. There was also this snake shadow sword. He clearly remembered that when he was in the Yi clan's ancestral home, he had obtained the spiritual energy from Chico's blood phoenix jade. He had used 80% of his spiritual energy to unlock the snake shadow sword. Now, his spiritual energy was even more abundant than before. However, when he used 90% of his spiritual energy to activate the snake shadow sword, the snake shadow sword had only just begun to awaken. What was going on? Could it be that the blood phoenix spiritual energy in his body had disappeared? Or had the snake shadow sword's reaction become sluggish? The secret of the snake shadow sword was only known to his father, Yi Kong. Too many things had happened recently, and he did not have the time to listen to his father's explanation. This time, when he returned home for the new year, he must ask his father to tell him the secret of the sword. Then there was his own cultivation. This time, he personally experienced the saying that there was always someone better than him. The silver-robed Taoist cultivation was profound, and the horsetail whisk in his hand was even more powerful. This time, if the golden-robed Taoist did not make a move, he could not have predicted the outcome. Taoist magic was very powerful. The silver-robed Taoist should not have used his special skills, but he had already used 90% of his spiritual energy. The winner and loser had already been determined. As for Jinji, he was even more powerful, not to mention his cloud riding technique. He had only used one move to absorb the two's moves. This kind of cultivation made Yi Fan willingly admit defeat. It must be known that Brother Kim and the white-robed heavenly dragon were not human beings. They had cultivated for no less than 1,000 years to reach such a level. However, the golden-robed Taoist was a living person. To be able to cultivate to such a level was really rare. If the golden-robed Taoist had been his enemy, he was afraid that he would have died on the spot. It seemed that he had to cultivate diligently, Yi Fan thought. He was ashamed to say that he had not carefully read the Qi refining chapter of the mysterious sky secret that his brother Kim had given him, let alone cultivate it. After the new year, he must cultivate well and improve his strength. Only by improving his strength could he protect himself and his loved ones. Although he was safe now, there were still experts chasing after Chico. Moreover, Matsumoto Takeyoshi was also ready to make a move. On one hand, he coveted the great Ming dynasty's divine weapon. On the other hand, he was the murderer of Chico's father. Whether it was for public or private reasons, this person must be eliminated. In addition, Yi Ming's weapon forging manual was also one of their goals. Although Yi ancestor Yi Ming's cultivation was unfathomable, he had already said that he would no longer interfere in the affairs of the Yi family. The white-robed heavenly dragon was in the heavenly court and would not interfere in the affairs of the human world. Brother Kim also said that the heavenly court was also monitoring his every move, so he could not do as he pleased. Jin Shan could help, but now that the Gu King Wu Du had appeared and she was far away in Miaojiang, distant water could not quench the present thirst. Although his father Yi Kong and grandfather Yi Yun were strong, they were still humans. Once they encountered an expert like Jioju Junichiro, they would be caught off guard. In this way, the only one who could really help was himself. It was urgent to improve his cultivation. The two of them rushed all the way to Miaojia. Before dawn, the two of them arrived at Miaojia. After reaching a place where there was no one, Yi Fan slowly withdrew his spiritual power and landed in the dense forest with Xiao Zhao. Chico and Jin Shan had been waiting there for a long time. Seeing that Xiao Zhao had returned safely and listening to Yi Fan's story, Fujiwara no Chico and Jinshan both breathed a sigh of relief. Sister-in-law, mother-in-law, Xiao Zhao said, "It's all my fault for making you worry. It's good that you came back safely." Fujiwara no Chiko held Xiao Zhao's hand and said, "This time I am relieved. This child, fortunately, nothing happened to you," Jinshan said with a smile. "Otherwise, it would be difficult for me to absolve myself from the blame." Mother-in-law, Yifan also said with a smile, "Why don't you accept her as a disciple so that she won't run around without discipline? This way, you can restrain her." "How can I do that?" Jinshan looked at Xiao Zhao with a smile. "How can I have such a blessing?" Xiao Zhao was very clever. She knelt in front of Jinshan. "Master, please accept this disciple's worship." After that, she kowtowed 3 times. "Do you really want to worship me as your master?" Jinshan stopped smiling and asked seriously. "Mother-in-law, please accept me as your disciple." Xiao Zhao said sincerely. "There are many rules in my sect. I'm afraid you can't bear the hardships." Jinshan said, "No matter how hard it is, I'm willing." Xiao Zhao replied, "In my sect, you have to worship the soul of all living things. First of all, you have to be a vegetarian for life. Can you do that?" Jinshan asked. "Yes." Xiao Zhao replied, "Since I was sensible, my parents taught me to be a vegetarian. Later, when my parents had an accident, I followed Brother Yi, but this habit has not changed and has continued to this day. The second point, when you enter my sect, you can't kill at will, and you have to respect your master, repay kindness, and care for the common people. Can you do that?" Jinshan asked again. "Yes," Xiao Zhao firmly replied. "The third point, which is also the most important," Jinshan said, "when you enter my sect, you can't practice evil arts. If you violate this, everyone in the sect will kill you. Can you do this?" "I can," Xiao Zhao replied again. "Get up." Golden Silkworm lifted Xiao Zhao, who was kneeling on the ground, up with one hand and said with a smile, "Today, I'll take you as my disciple. Although you're an anomaly, you're kind-hearted. I've long wanted to take you as my disciple, but fate hasn't brought us together yet. Now, the time is right, and I have another member in my sect." Xiao Zhao was overjoyed. She didn't expect that she would be blessed by a good teacher. "Congratulations, mother-in-law, for accepting a good disciple." Yifan smiled and looked at Xiao Zhao. "Finally, there is someone who can discipline her." Xiao Zhao rolled her eyes at Yifan and snorted mischievously. "Oh, you are really ungrateful." Yifan smiled and said, "I just saved you, and not only did you not repay me, you even dare to be so rude to me." "Mother-in-law, what did you just say?" Yes, 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 yes. To respect your master, to repay kindness. Does this count as repaying kindness?" "You." Xiao Zhao was so angry at Yifan that she couldn't say a word. You see, it's happening again." Yifan was unforgiving. "Mother-in-law, you have to discipline her." Yifan pointed at Xiao Zhao and smiled. "What kind of scandal is this? Are you done?" Fujiwara no Chiko saw that Xiao Zhao's face had turned red from anger at Yifan, so she quickly chimed in, "You are too much as an older brother. Not only did you not congratulate your little sister, but you also dared to bully little sister Xiao Zhao. Aren't you afraid that mother-in-law will punish you?" After saying this, she took Xiao Zhao's hand and rolled her eyes at Yifan. "Xiao Zhao, don't pay attention to him." "Sigh." Yifan sighed and said, "It's fine if you don't thank me for saving someone, but no one cares about you when you suffer internal injuries. You don't even feel sorry for your wife. The world is really cold." "Sigh. I can only blame myself, Yifan, for having such a hard life." After saying this, he clutched his chest and frowned. "You're injured?" Fujiwara no Chiko heard this and hurried over to support Yifan, her face full of anxiety. "Brother Yi." Xiao Zhao saw this and immediately came over to support Yifan on the other side. She hurriedly asked, "Brother Yi, what happened to you? Don't scare me. I was injured by those 2 people just now." Yifan tried his best to stabilize himself. The 2 hurriedly helped Yifan sit on a rock. "Were you injured? Is it serious?" Fujiwara no Chiko asked anxiously. "Brother Yi," Xiao Zhao cried, "why didn't you tell me that you were injured?" Two people? Fujiwara no Chiko hurriedly asked. Didn't you say that you only fought with the Taoists called Inji and not Jinji? They weren't the ones who injured me. Yi Fan shook his head and said, Not them. Xiao Zhao was puzzled. Then who was it? You two. Yi Fan frowned and said, You two hurt me. My heart hurts. A daughter-in-law and a younger sister. Both of them are hurt together. The younger sister bullies the older brother, and the daughter-in-law doesn't love her husband. My heart is broken. After saying that, she looked at Xiao Zhao and Fujiwara Chiko innocently. What? Fujiwara no Chiko and Xiao Zhao looked at each other. This Yi Fan was actually playing with them. The two were instantly fuming with anger. Their almond-shaped eyes widened. Fujiwara no Chiko fiercely shook off Yi Fan and rolled up her sleeves. Xiao Zhao also angrily wiped her tears with her sleeve. The two stared at Yi Fan with gritted teeth. What do you want? Yi Fan saw that the atmosphere was not right. Well, my heart is... Before he could say the word pain, Xiao Zhao and Fujiwara no Chiko's fists rained down on Yi Fan's body like a storm. Killing your own brother, murdering your own husband, Yi Fan shouted loudly. Chapter 84. 3 days later. Night. We're here. Yi Fan, who was carrying Fujiwara no Chiko in the air, retracted his spirit energy and slowly landed in front of a large mansion. Jin Chan's red sedan chair followed closely behind. The curtain of the sedan chair was lifted, and Xiao Zhao and Jin Chan got out of the red sedan chair. After getting out of the sedan chair, Jin Chan waved her hand, and the red sedan chair suddenly rose into the air. Together with the two pairs of red boots, it shrank to the size of a palm and flew back to Jin Chan's hand. This is Brother Ye's home. It's quite imposing, Xiao Zhao said as she looked at the tall walls, the mighty stone lions, and the vermilion door in front of her. Yi Fan smiled. It's all right. All right? Xiao Zhao's eyes widened. This is all right. Sister Xiao Zhao, you haven't seen the Yi family's ancestral home. If you see it, you'll understand. Fujiwara no Chiko said to Xiao Zhao. Compared to the Yi family's ancestral home, this can only be considered an ordinary house. If there's a chance, let your brother Yi take you to see it. Xiao Zhao stuck out her tongue when she heard this. If this was considered an ordinary house, then wouldn't the Yi family's ancestral home be like an imperial palace? Grandma, wait a moment, I'll go call the door. Yi Fan said as he walked to the door and knocked a few times with the bronze ring on the beast head. After a while, there was a sound from the door. A young doorman opened a crack in the vermilion door and poked his head out. Who is it? When he saw Yi Fan standing at the door, he immediately exclaimed, Young master. As he spoke, he quickly opened the door. Fu Sheng, where's my father? Yi Fan said as he gestured for everyone to follow him in. A group of people filed in. Master is in the sword furnace. The doorman answered as he led the way. Go and tell my father that Jin Chan and Xiao Zhao are here. By the way, Yi Fan said, this is the young madam. You haven't met her yet. So it's young madam. The doorman hurriedly bowed to Fujiwara no Chiko. I was blind and neglected young madam. Fujiwara no Chiko quickly waved her hand. It's fine. All right, you can go, Yi Fan said. I'll take them to the main hall to wait for my father. After the doorman bowed to everyone, he hurriedly turned around and left. Yi Fan led everyone to the main reception hall. Along the way, there were 9 winding corridors, clear springs, rockeries, pavilions, terraces, and pagodas. It was extremely elegant. Along the way, they encountered quite a few maidservants. When they saw Yi Fan, they all stood to the side and bowed. You're really lucky, Fujiwara no Chiko said with a smile. Since you were young, you've had so many people serving you. Yi Fan smiled bitterly. Madam, you're wrong. You don't know how boring it is here. If it weren't for the ancient book and sword, I would probably go crazy from boredom. You child, you don't know how lucky you are. Jin Chan smiled. You haven't lived a hard life, so you don't understand the hardships of the poor. That's right. Xiao Zhao also chimed in. Do you think that everyone is like you, living the life of a pampered young master? After Yi Fan heard this, he immediately pretended to chase after Xiao Zhao. Xiao Zhao was so scared that she hurriedly hid behind Jin Shan. Let me tell you, I already have a master. If you dare to touch me, I'll let Popo deal with you. Along the way, everyone chatted and laughed. They followed Yi Fan to the reception hall. The interior was decorated with antique furniture, simple and elegant. After everyone was seated, Yi Fan ordered the servants to serve tea and prepare food. I didn't know that Popo was coming, so I didn't go out to greet you. Yi Kong's voice sounded, and then he appeared at the door. As he spoke, he walked into the reception hall and bowed to Jin Shan. Jin Shan returned the greeting. Father, Fujiwara no Chico affectionately called out. Yi Kong replied with a smile. It could be seen that he was very happy. Ever since Yi Fan was not at home, the house had been deserted. He was not used to this. Every day, he would either read books or cultivate, or go to the sword furnace to fiddle with swords and sabers. Now that his son and daughter-in-law had suddenly come back to see him, as a father, he felt very gratified. How could he not be happy? Father, Yi Fan said, this time I'll bring Xiao Zhao and Popo home for the new year. Good. Yi Kong said with a smile. It's rare for Xiao Zhao and Popo to come. This time, you must stay here for a few more days. Let me do my best as a host. Uncle, Xiao Zhao said with a smile. It will be very lively here during the new year. Yi Kong said with a smile, of course. When the time comes, let your brother Yi take you around and have fun. That's great, Xiao Zhao said excitedly. After a while, the servants had finished preparing the food and wine. Yi Kong and Yi Fan, father and son, accompanied everyone as they ate dinner. For the first time, Yi Kong even ordered the servants to bring out the fine wine bestowed by the emperor. At this time, Fujiwara no Chico felt very happy. Ever since her father's accident, she had never experienced the warmth of a big family. Looking at the scene in front of her, she couldn't help but feel emotional. After the dinner, it was already late at night. Everyone returned to the guest rooms that Yi Kong had arranged for them. Xiao Zhao and Jin Shan stayed in one room, while Yi Fan and his wife stayed in the other. They were all very spacious and comfortable rooms. After making arrangements for everyone, Yi Fan told Fujiwara no Chico to go back to her room to rest. He hadn't been with his father for a long time. Now that he was back home, he wanted to have a good chat with his father. Fujiwara no Chico was a little drunk. After telling Yi Fan not to catch a cold, she went back to her room to rest. It was already late at night. The night was as cold as water, and Mingyu was hanging high in the sky. Yi Fan walked alone to his father, Yi Kong's room. Yi Kong's room was only a wall away from Yi Fan's room. Yi Fan stepped over the stone arch, passed through a bush, and arrived at Yi Kong's room. The light in Yi Kong's room was still on. It seemed that he wasn't asleep. At the door, Yi Fan knocked and pushed the door open. Yi Kong was drinking tea and reading a book. When he saw Yi Fan come in, he closed the book and put it aside. He asked, "It's so late. Why aren't you with Chico? What are you doing here?" "I miss you, Dad." As Yi Fan spoke, he picked up an apple from the fruit platter on the table and laid down on Yi Kong's bed. With a crunch, he took a bite. Home is still the most comfortable. Brat, Yi Kong said with a smile. The cave abode in your blessed land is 100 times better than here. What's wrong? You can't get used to it? It's good, but it's too lonely, Yi Fan said as he sat up. Dad, why don't you move in with us too? Ha, Yi Kong laughed. Silly boy, why would I move in? It's not like I don't have a place to live. Besides, if I move in, what will happen to the stall at home? Sigh. Yi Fan shook his head and sighed. He lay down on the bed and ate the apple again. Silly boy, Dad knows you're filial. Yi Kong got up and touched the wick of the candle. But I'm too busy with the family affairs, and I don't trust anyone else. Plus, there's Chico's matter, so I can't leave. Dad, Yi Fan suddenly lowered his voice and said softly, Chico already told me everything. Is there really someone working for Matsumoto Takeyoshi in our family? Yi Kong nodded. Did you find out who it is? Yi Fan got up and asked. No. Yi Kong shook his head. But Yi Kong smiled. We'll know who the mole is tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yi Fan was puzzled. That's right. Tomorrow, Yi Kong said with a smile. Dad, what's going on? Yi Fan didn't understand what Yi Kong was up to. I've set up a trap. I'm just waiting for the fish to take the bait, Yi Kong said with a smile. Dad, are you sure? Yi Fan asked. Of course. Tomorrow morning, pay attention and observe, Yi Kong said. Whoever is better than is the mole. Why? Yi Fan asked, puzzled. I put a secret medicine in tonight's meal. It's called dispersing tea. Yi Kong lowered his voice and said, This medicine is colorless and tasteless. This dispersing tea has a special characteristic. Ordinary people won't have any effect after taking it. But if someone with cultivation takes it, they'll feel weak and their legs will go numb within 3 hours. This condition will last for 3 days before it disappears. So tomorrow morning, we'll know who the mole is. What? Yi Fan was shocked. Dad, you put dispersing tea in the meal? Then will we also? Haha. Yi Kong laughed. Don't worry about this. We did put dispersing tea in the meal, but we've already taken the antidote. We've taken the antidote. Yi Fan asked in shock. That's right, Yi Kong said with a smile. I put the antidote into the jar of exquisite wine bestowed by the emperor, so no one who drinks this wine will have any effect. So that's how it is, Yi Fan suddenly understood. Dad, you're really amazing. You can even think of such a brilliant idea. All right, Yi Kong said in a small voice. Only you and I know about this. You can't tell anyone. Even Chico can't be told for now. Do you understand? Dad, I understand, Yi Fan replied. And go back and rest. You'll know the results tomorrow morning, Yi Kong said to Yi Fan. Then Dad, you should rest early too. Yi Fan originally wanted to ask about the snake shadow sword, but when he heard that they were going to catch the mole tomorrow, he could only give up. He got up and walked out of Yi Kong's room. Chapter 85. The next morning, after everyone finished their breakfast, Yi Kong instructed the steward to gather everyone in the back garden without delay. The steward hurriedly asked what was the matter. Just do as I say, Yi Kong said as he drank his tea. Yes. The steward turned around and hurriedly went to do it. Father, what are you doing? Fujiwara no Chico whispered to Yi Fan. She was still in the dark. Catching a ghost. Yi Fan smiled. Catching a ghost? Fujiwara no Chico put down the teacup in her hand with a puzzled expression. What ghost? A mole, Yi Fan said. A mole? Could it be? Fujiwara no Chico suddenly understood Yi Fan's meaning. Could it be? That's right. Yi Kong continued Yi Fan's words. It's the person Matsumoto Takeyoshi sent to secretly spy on me. Why you found him? Jin-chan asked. When Yi Fan went to save Xiao Zhao, Fujiwara no Chico had already told her the whole story. You'll know soon, Yi Kong said as he put down his teacup. Everyone, please follow me. After saying that, he walked out of the door. Everyone put down the fragrant tea in their hands after hearing that, and followed Yi Kong to the back garden. At this time, the back garden was filled with a large group of people. There were servant girls, accountants, pawn shop assistants, cooks, night watchmen, and guards. There were more than 50 people. These people were whispering to each other, not knowing why Yi Kong suddenly gathered everyone. This situation had never happened before. Seeing that Yi Kong had arrived, everyone immediately quieted down. In an instant, there was complete silence. It was strangely quiet. Master, the steward walked over. According to your instructions, I've already informed everyone to gather here. Yi Kong nodded. Is everyone here? Replying, Master, everyone is here. The steward replied. Everyone is here? Yi Fan was shocked. What was going on? Could it be that the person sent by Matsumoto Takeyoshi had no cultivation and was just an ordinary person? Yi Fan looked at Yi Kong. To his surprise, Yi Kong only smiled as if he had a card up his sleeve. This made Yi Fan even more confused. Yi Kong smiled as he walked to the front of the crowd. With his hands behind his back, he observed everyone one by one. These servants were so scared that they lowered their heads and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. After checking the first row, Yi Kong walked to the second row. The first row was filled with servant girls, while the second row was filled with cooks and guards. When he came to the front of a burly guard, he stopped in his tracks. "Did you drink?" Yikong asked. In reply to Master, the guard stammered, "I drank it." "Guards are not allowed to drink. Don't you know the rules?" Yikong calmly asked. Yi Fan frowned. It seemed that this guard was sent by Matsumoto Takeyoshi to monitor the Yi family. He didn't expect this person to know the location of the antidote. He also didn't expect that this person had heard the entire conversation between father and son last night. However, no matter how Yi Fan looked at him, he didn't think that this person had any cultivation. Perhaps it was because of this that he was able to get away with it. "Master!" That guard fell to his knees with a thud. "Master, please spare me. I won't dare to do it again." "Let me ask you." Yikong crouched down and whispered a few words to that guard. The guard also whispered a few words back to Yikong. "You can get up," Yikong said as he got up. He smiled and looked back at the steward. The steward's expression began to change. "You stay," Yikong said to the kneeling guard. "The rest of you can leave." Everyone felt as if they had been pardoned and immediately dispersed. The steward also prepared to leave. "Zhou Quan," Yikong said to the steward as he turned around. "You stay too." That steward immediately froze in place. He then turned around and bowed respectfully to Yikong. "Master, do you have any other orders?" Yikong slowly walked in front of the steward. "You drank last night?" In reply to Master, "I drank." The steward replied. "You drank with him?" Yikong asked again. "Yes," the steward replied. "I have always been on good terms with Zhao Meng. Yesterday, I drank with him." "Is that so?" Yikong turned around and asked that guard. In reply to Master, that guard said, "I was on duty last night. In the middle of the night, I coincidentally met Steward Zhou. When he saw me, he suddenly called out to me and said there was good wine. I have always been a glutton for wine. In a moment of excitement, I drank with Steward Zhou. Then how about the exquisite wine bestowed by the emperor? It tastes good, doesn't it?" Yikong asked coldly. "Tell me the truth. I won't kill you." The steward was stunned at first, then he smiled. "If that's the case, then I don't need to continue acting." After speaking, he straightened up and patted his clothes. "I didn't expect that the identity I hid for more than 10 years would be exposed by you. This is good too. I'm free now. I don't have to worry about a mess all day long." After hearing this, Yi Fan was shocked. He never would have thought that the person sent by Matsumoto Takeyoshi to spy on the Yi family was actually this steward. Yi Fan clearly remembered that when he was 7 years old, he followed his father Yikong to the temple fair. On the street, they met this person. At that time, this person's clothes were ragged, his hair was unkempt, and his face was dirty. He stood in front of a steamed bun stall and stared at the steaming buns. From time to time, he would swallow his saliva. Yikong had a kind heart. When he saw this scene, he took out some money from his pocket and handed it to him. However, this person shook his head and refused to accept the money. He told Yikong that he was not a beggar. He also said that honest people don't eat handouts. Yikong saw that although his clothes were ragged, the cloth was of the highest quality. He also saw that he spoke well, so he began to chat with him. From the conversation, he found out that this person was originally a steward of a large family. Later, because his master was involved in a lawsuit, his entire family was executed. Because of this, he became homeless and homeless. The money on him was also confiscated by the soldiers who searched his house. He couldn't carry a heavy burden, so he wanted to continue doing his old job. However, the other large families all thought that he was unlucky and no one was willing to take him in. Thus, he ended up in his current situation. Yikong saw that this person was honest and dutiful. It just so happened that the family lacked a steward, so he brought this person home and made him the steward of the Yi family. Yikong was very meticulous in his work. He secretly sent people to investigate this person's background. The result was exactly the same as what this person, called Zhou Quan, said. This Zhou Quan lived up to his name. He was very efficient in his work. In just a few days after he arrived, he managed to tidy up the entire Yi family in an orderly manner. Yi Fan still remembered that every time he caused trouble and was punished by his father, Zhou Quan would secretly bring him food from the kitchen. If this person didn't admit it himself, He wouldn't dare to believe that this person in front of him was one of Matsumoto Takayoshi's men. "Speak," Yi Kong said. "You concealed your identity and lurked in the Yi family for more than 10 years. What is your purpose?" "To spy on you and him." As Zhou Quan spoke, he glanced at Yi Fan. His eyes didn't have a usual modesty that Yi Fan saw. Instead, they were cold and sharp. "What are you spying on us for?" Yi Kong asked. "It happened 23 years ago. Don't tell me you don't remember?" Zhou Quan said with a smile. As soon as he said that, Yi Kong's face immediately changed in shock. However, the other people present were confused. Yi Fan was even more confused. 23 years ago? What happened 23 years ago? How come he never heard his father mention it? The number 23 was a little sensitive for Yi Fan because he was 23 years old this year, and his zodiac sign was that of a snake. "Who exactly are you?" Yi Kong asked coldly. "Since things have come to this, I won't hide it anymore. My name is indeed Zhou Quan. Matsumoto Takayoshi is my adoptive father." Zhou Quan said, "My purpose in coming to the Yi family is very simple. I want to find out the identity of the umbrella bearer from 23 years ago." "You know too much." Yi Kong drew the inverse scale sword from his waist and said slowly, "No matter what, I can't let you leave today." "Ha ha!" Zhou Quan laughed loudly. "Your ethereal sword technique is indeed powerful. However, based on my many years of secret observation, I'm already familiar with your sword techniques. So you can't stop me now. You and I are master and servant, so I won't fight you today. However, that might not be the case next time." "Is that so?" Yi Fan slowly walked to Yi Kong's side. "I'd like to see it for myself." They were brothers in battle, father and son in battle. For this person to be able to silently infiltrate the Yi family for more than 10 years without being discovered, he must be extraordinary. What was even more strange was that even though his identity had been exposed in front of his father, himself, Jin-chan, and Fujiwara no Chiko, he was still able to remain calm and talk cheerfully. This person must have an extremely high cultivation base to be able to deal with them calmly. Yi Fan didn't dare to be negligent. He immediately stood beside Yi Kong. Fujiwara no Chiko and Jin-chan also stood behind Zhou Quan, cutting off his escape route. "What do you have to fight?" Zhou Quan said as he looked around with a pair of bright eyes. "Even little young master wants to make an enemy out of me. Although you've treated me well, you've infiltrated the Yi family for more than 10 years. You definitely don't have any good intentions." Yi Fan slowly drew the snake shadow sword from his waist. "Matsumoto Takayoshi harmed my father-in-law. Since you're his adopted son, our enmity is irreconcilable." At the mention of his father, Fujiwara no Chiko was instantly enraged. It was truly a small world. He didn't expect to meet his enemy's adopted son here. How could he let go of such a good opportunity? Thinking of this, Fujiwara no Chiko patted the scabbard. With a swish, the scabbard opened. Fujiwara no Chiko directly pulled out the Chiho. Suddenly, a tiger roared and a dragon roared, and a brilliance came out. Jin-chan didn't sit idly by. She stretched out her hand and took out the emerald green bamboo flute. She put it to her mouth and gently opened her red lips. A melodious flute sound drifted into the ears. On the ground around Zhou Quan, countless black ants broke out of the ground. After they emerged from the ground, they directly formed a circle of 3 feet around Zhou Quan, surrounding him and making hissing sounds. These ants all had green wings. At a glance, it was obvious that they were poisonous. This was because the grass that these ants crawled over instantly withered. As long as Jin-chan played the flute, these poisonous creatures would pounce on Zhou Quan, who was surrounded. "Ant formation?" Zhou Quan frowned. "You're Jin-chan from Yaojiang?" "Yes." Jin-chan smiled. "Looks like I have no choice but to leave today," Zhou Quan said with a smile. "Everyone, take care. I'll make a move first." As soon as he finished speaking, he lowered his body and landed directly into the ground, disappearing from sight. This scene shocked everyone on the spot. Even Jin-chan frowned. "What kind of move is this?" Yi Fan said in surprise. "He can actually drill into the ground." "Earth escape?" Yikong's face was full of disbelief. This person has a special technique, and his cultivation is not shallow, Jin Chan said as she cast a spell to make the black ants drill back into the ground. If you meet this person again, you must be very careful. After hearing this, Yi Fan secretly frowned. Other things were fine, but this earth escape technique was impossible to guard against. Who knew if this person would suddenly drill out of the ground in the middle of the night and stand in front of his bed? Chapter 86. That night, in Yikong's room, Dad, Yi Fan leaned against the wall and asked what Zhou Quan said today. Do you want to ask about what happened 23 years ago? Yikong went straight to the point. In this snake's shadow sword, Yi Fan asked, what's going on? Originally, I was going to take this to the grave. Yikong leaned against a rosewood recliner and looked at the ceiling. Since things have come to this point, I won't hide it from you anymore. What happened 23 years ago? Yi Fan was anxious to know the ins and outs of the matter. 23 years ago, it was the year of the Gui snake, which was the year your mother gave birth to you, Yikong recalled. It was the 15th of August, the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival. I remember very clearly that I accompanied your mother to admire the moon in the back garden. Your mother suddenly felt a pain in her lower abdomen and was about to give birth. At that time, I had already made preparations and arranged for a midwife to deliver the child in advance, so everything went smoothly. 2 hours later, you were born successfully, but Yikong frowned when he said this. But what? He was born on the 15th of August, the Mid-Autumn Festival. Yi Fan knew all that Yikong said. He wanted to know what happened after that. When you were born, you were different from ordinary people. You didn't cry or laugh. You always had a straight face, closed eyes, and expressionless. Yikong continued. When a midwife saw that you didn't cry, she thought that you had something wrong with your mouth and nose, so she spanked you to make you cry. Who knew that not only did you not cry, you even opened your eyes and glared fiercely at the midwife. Yikong smiled when he said this. Me? Glared at the midwife? Yi Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What happened after that? That midwife is a well-known midwife. She has delivered no less than hundreds of babies, but she has never encountered such a situation. When she saw this scene, she was scared out of her wits and ran out to see me screaming. Yikong recalled the situation at that time and said, after knowing this, I went into the room to see your mother and you. Sure enough, it was just as the midwife said. Your eyes were tightly shut and your face was tense. That's not the expression a baby should have. Not a baby's expression? Yi Fan frowned and asked, what expression is that? You looked like an adult at that time. You looked unruly. Yikong said, when I saw this scene, I picked you up. After all, you were my flesh and blood. Who would have thought that when I picked you up, you actually opened your eyes and smiled at me? Huh, Yi Fan found it funny. Maybe I don't like that midwife. Therefore, she glared at her. I like Dad, so I smiled at you. You are wrong. Yikong took a deep breath. If you didn't smile at me, it would have been fine. But when you smiled, it made my hair stand on end. What's the matter? Yi Fan didn't understand. That's not a normal smile. That's an evil smile. When Yikong recalled Yi Fan's strange smile from back then, he still felt a chill run down his spine. Just imagine a newborn baby smiling strangely at someone without crying or making a fuss. Who wouldn't feel a chill run down their spine? Evil smile? Yi Fan was also frightened when he heard it. Why did it sound like he was a monster at that time? And then, Yi Fan continued to ask. That midwife couldn't take it anymore. She was so scared that she trembled like a sieve. If there weren't so many people present, I'm afraid she would have fainted. Yikong said, at that time, your mother was exhausted and fell into a deep sleep after giving birth to you. I gave that midwife 2 times the silver banknotes and told her not to spread this matter. Even though that midwife was frightened, she understood that our Yi family was powerful and couldn't be offended. After she received the 500 taels of silver banknotes, she swore that she would keep her mouth shut and would not say a word about this matter. Yikong reached out to take a sip of the tea on the table. After the midwife left, there was only you and me, father and son, and your sleeping mother in the room. I was afraid that your mother would be frightened by your appearance when she woke up, so I ordered the servant girls to take care of your mother. I wrapped you up and carried you out of the room. I wanted to take you for a walk outside, but who would have thought that the scene outside the room would make me even more frightened? The scene from that year is still vivid in my mind. What happened outside the room? Yifan was anxious to know what happened. Blood moon. 2 words came out of Yikong's mouth. Blood moon? Yifan was shocked and said involuntarily, "That's right, blood moon." Yikong stood up and slowly walked to the window. Coincidentally, outside the window, there was a menu hanging in the sky, bright and soft. If the moon changes color, there will be disaster. Green is hunger and worry. Red is war and war. Yellow is virtue and joy. White is drought and mourning. Black is water. People are sick and die. Yikong explained, the blood moon is the sign of extreme yin and cold. It shows that the righteousness in the world is weak and evil is strong. Resentment is strong and evil is strong. The ancients said, when the blood moon appears, the evildoer appears. When the righteousness is weak, people are wronged. When the righteousness is exhausted, the country will decline. Sigh. Yikong sighed. The golden full moon turned into an ominous blood moon in the blink of an eye. Coupled with your strange birth, I was in a terrible mood at that time. But you were different. When you came out of the house, you opened your eyes and stared at the blood moon. You started to laugh. Yifan was silent. He knew that his father would never lie to him. He did not expect that his previous life eldritch would be so evil that he could cause the blood moon to appear. To be honest, I was almost sure that your birth was an ominous sign. I wanted to take your life, but you are my Yi family's flesh and blood. How could I do it? Yikong said with tears in his eyes. Helpless, I thought of a compromise. I was going to bring you to a divination master called Divinator to read your 8 characters. This person is proficient in divination, and his divinations are very accurate. If you're a normal person, everything will be as usual. If you are the reincarnation of an evildoer, I have thought about it. I will hand you over to my good friend, Purple Sun Monastery's Monastery Master Chinchinzi. Whether you live or die, it will all be up to him. I will not let my own selfishness lead to misery and suffering. Father. Yifan did not expect that his birth did not make his father happy. Instead, it made his father feel so much pain. At this moment, he did not know what to say. Night Sky waved his hand and continued. Just as I was about to send someone to invite the divination operator, the weather suddenly changed. The weather that was still clear just now suddenly became dark clouds rolling and heavy rain pouring down. One after another, the thunder was louder than the previous one. They lingered above my head and did not disperse. Although I was nervous, I knew that the heavenly thunder was definitely coming for you. The reason why I did not fall was because I was hugging you. The heavenly thunder would never attack others recklessly. If I let go of you, the rolling heavenly thunder would definitely tear your skin and flesh apart. When I saw this, I could not bear it and hugged you tightly without letting go. I directly rushed into the house. The heavenly thunder followed closely behind and rumbled on the roof. It was deafening and did not disperse for a long time. I hugged you and knelt in the living room, begging the heavens to be magnanimous and let this child go. I also swore that I was willing to give up half of my lifespan to repair bridges and roads in my remaining years. I was willing to do good deeds and forgive this child. I will definitely discipline this child strictly and will not let him walk on the path of evil. If this child walks on the path of evil in the future, I am willing to pay with my life and sacrifice myself for him. Although Yikong tried his best to use a calm tone to talk about this matter, and the oath he made, Yifan could hear it. He could also feel his father's resolute love for his child in this extremely urgent situation. Only now did he understand why his father would make time every year to check the reports from the servants about where there were disasters, where the roads were difficult to travel, and where there were famines. Once he learned of a place that was in trouble, he would personally help and donate money and goods. So the reason for doing this was to forgive himself "Father," Yi Fan said with a choked voice, "you should have killed me at that time, or just threw me outside and let the heavenly thunder strike me." When Yi Fan heard that his father had given up half of his lifespan in order to have the heavens forgive him, he could not stop his tears from flowing. "Silly child," Yi Kong composed himself and raised his head to blink. "You are my flesh and blood. Even a vicious tiger would not eat its own cubs. How could I bear to see you lose your life?" Then what happened after that? Yi Fan used his hand to wipe his eyes and then asked, "Did the heavenly thunder leave?" "Maybe I moved the heavens," Yi Kong said in relief. After 15 minutes, the heavenly thunder dissipated and the sky cleared up. I looked outside through the window. Other than the blood moon still hanging in the sky was clear and everything returned to normal. I looked at you in the swaddling clothes in my arms. At this time, you were looking at me with a smile, a pair of clear eyes flashing. This was no longer that wicked smile from before, but a very sincere and grateful smile. "Huh," Yi Kong said with a smile. "You don't know how happy your father was when you smiled. My heart was melted by your smile. At that time, I made a decision. No matter if you were a demon or a ghost in your previous life, in this life, you are my, Yi Kong's son. I will definitely teach you well. I will do my best and know what will happen." As Yi Kong said this, a smile appeared on his face. A father's love was like a mountain. Only now did Yi Fan understand the true meaning of this sentence. In the past, he sometimes felt that his father was a bit too strict. Only now did he understand his father's good intentions. "Father." Yi Fan walked to the table and filled Yi Kong's cup with tea. He handed it to Yi Kong. "Then who is the umbrella holder that Zhou Quan spoke of?" "I haven't finished speaking yet." Yi Kong took a sip of the tea that Yi Fan handed over. After the heavenly thunder left, a servant came to report that there was a person outside the door who specifically asked to see me. "That umbrella holder?" Yi Fan asked. "That's right." Yi Kong put down the tea and sat back on the recliner. Everything that happened that day was too sudden. When I heard that someone specifically asked to see me, I didn't dare to lower my guard. I carried you in one hand and held the sword in the other. I went to the door to see that person. "Who is this person?" Yi Fan asked. After I used the sword to pry open the door, I saw this person. Yi Kong said. This person was wearing a straw raincoat and had a tall figure. He looked to be around 30 years old. He wore a ghost face mask. He held a black umbrella in his left hand and something wrapped in green cloth in his right hand. Yi Kong said slowly. That thing was the Snake Shadow Sword. Snake Shadow Sword? Yi Fan was shocked. He was the one who sent the Snake Shadow Sword? Chapter 87. 23 years ago at night, in front of the Yi family. My friend, I'm Yi Kong. Yi Kong, who was holding a baby in his arms and holding a long sword, said vigilantly as he sized up the person wearing a ghost mask in front of him. You're looking for me? You're Yi Kong? The person's voice was deep. Through the ghost mask, a pair of sharp eyes stared at Yi Kong as he asked slowly. That's me, Yi Kong said. May I ask why you're here in the middle of the night? To be honest, the person holding the umbrella looked at the baby in Yi Kong's arms. I'm here specifically for the baby in your hands. Yi Kong was shocked when he heard the person holding the umbrella say this. He immediately took a step back and raised a long sword in his hand, pointing it at the person holding the umbrella. What do you want? Huh? The person holding the umbrella laughed. Mr. Yi, you've misunderstood. I don't have any bad intentions in coming to your residence. I'm only here because someone asked me to fulfill a promise. Promise? Yi Kong didn't put down the sword in his hand. He asked coldly, what promise? It's inconvenient to talk here. The person holding the umbrella looked around and then said to Yi Kong, can we talk inside? If you don't tell me clearly, I'll kill you with one strike. Yi Kong said coldly. This mysterious person holding the umbrella looked very strange. The moment he opened his mouth, he said that he was here for the baby in his hands. Plus, the heavenly thunder just now made him nervous and anxious to protect his child. Mr. Yi, the person holding the umbrella said calmly, if I had any bad intentions, I would have done it already. I wouldn't have waited until now. I'm here for an important matter. If you have something to say, then say it here. Yi Kong said coldly. If you don't want to say it, please leave quickly. Sigh. The person holding the umbrella sighed and said, then I'm sorry to offend you. After he finished speaking, the man with the umbrella opened his eyes wide. In an instant, his hair and beard moved, and the straw cape on his body fluttered without wind. A domineering aura was instantly emitted from his body. Before Yi Kong could react, he heard 3 crisp sounds. The long sword in his hand broke into 3 pieces and fell to the ground. Only the hilt was left in his hand. This scene shocked Yi Kong so much that he was stunned on the spot. This person was able to break the sword in his hand, which was made of fine steel, into 3 pieces with just a glare. What kind of cultivation was this? Even his father, Yi Yun, was far from reaching this level. The difference between his current cultivation and that of this umbrella holder was like the difference between heaven and earth. Mr. Yi, the person holding the umbrella, looked at Yi Kong, who was frozen in place. He cupped his hands and said, I have no choice. I hope Mr. Yi won't take offense. I do have something important to tell you. Yi Kong looked at the broken sword in his hand, then looked at the sincere person holding the umbrella. He understood a little. It seemed that this person was right. With his cultivation, if he wanted to take away the baby in his hand, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. This person probably didn't have any ill intentions and really did have something important to tell him. Thinking of this, Yi Kong threw the broken sword to the side and said, just now, Yi Kong was eager to protect his child and offended you with his words. I hope you can forgive me. I understand. The person holding the umbrella replied with a smile. Sir, please come in. Yi Kong extended his hand. Sorry for the intrusion, the person holding the umbrella said as he followed Yi Kong into the inner courtyard. They went directly to Yi Kong's study. Yi Kong had always liked peace and quiet, so this study was located in a secluded place in the back garden of the Yi Kong residence. Everyone knew about Yi Kong's habits. Other than Yi Fan and Madame Yi Kong, no one was allowed to enter without Yi Kong's permission. Seeing that the person holding the umbrella had something important to tell him, Yi Kong led him to this place. After the two entered the study, they sat down as the host and the guest. The person holding the umbrella placed the item wrapped in a green cloth on the table. He let go of the black umbrella in his hand. The black umbrella floated in the air and stopped a foot above his head. Although Yi Kong felt it was strange, he didn't ask any questions. Sir, Yi Kong asked, why are you looking for me? Why did you say you were here for my child? I was asked by someone to seal your son on the 15th of August, the day of the full moon. The person holding the umbrella said. Asked by someone? Seal? Yi Kong didn't understand what the person holding the umbrella was saying. I think Mr. Yi already knows what happened just now. The person holding the umbrella said. When your son was born, the blood moon appeared, followed by the thunder. Does Mr. Yi not suspect your son's identity? As soon as the person holding the umbrella said this, Yi Kong was shocked. The person in front of him seemed to know more about the baby in his hand than he did. Please enlighten me, Yi Kong said quickly. From the person's tone, he probably knew the identity of the baby. If that was the case, how could Yi Kong not be anxious? To be honest, the person holding the umbrella said, your son is the reincarnation of my third brother, Eldritch. He was born in your home today. Eldritch? Yi Kong was confused. Third brother? Eldritch is my third brother's nickname. His real name is Bufan Yi. The person holding the umbrella said calmly. Back then, my third brother resigned to pursue Taoism. Later, he met an expert who took him in as a disciple. However, because of his unruly behavior, his character was both righteous and evil, and he was expelled from the sect. After that, he became even more uncontrollable. He made a huge mistake and caused dissatisfaction among the cultivators. Both the righteous and evil sects chased after him nonstop, causing countless disasters. In the end, he angered the heavens and the people, and the heavenly court sent people to capture him. Sigh. The person holding the umbrella sighed. My third brother was arrogant and unruly. In the end, he self-destructed and died without a complete corpse. After hearing this, Yikong felt like he was in a dream. He didn't recover for a long time. My third brother's cultivation was profound. He had already predicted his own ending. The person holding the umbrella continued. He later found me and told me that after he died, he would be reincarnated in the Yi family. He also told me the time of his reincarnation, the 15th day of the 8th month of the 10th snake year. My third brother knew that his resentment was heavy and his murderous aura was strong. There would definitely be a vision in the world. Therefore, he taught me the method of sealing. He asked me to seal his Naiwan palace today to prevent him from having an evil aura since he was young. You mean to say that this newborn baby is your third brother, which is Eldritch's reincarnation? Yikong finally understood the person's intention. He frowned and said, "That's right." The person holding the umbrella replied, "What's with the heavenly lightning and the blood moon?" Yikong asked, "Since you knew that the heavenly lightning was coming, why didn't you show up and tell me in advance? Aren't you afraid that the heavenly lightning will take my son's life? Although the heavenly lightning is fierce, it won't hurt this child." The person holding the umbrella smiled. "How do you know?" Yikong asked. "There are 3 reasons why the heavenly lightning didn't fall just now." The person holding the umbrella said, "I'd like to hear the details." Yikong said, "First," the person holding the umbrella said, "Mr. Yi, you held your son tightly. If the heavenly lightning struck, it would definitely hurt you. Sir, you're a kind person. How could the heavenly lightning strike so easily and accidentally hurt a good person?" "What's the second reason?" Yikong asked again. "Second," the person holding the umbrella continued, "I just heard Mr. Yi make a vow in the room. You're willing to give up half of your life to forgive your son. Your feelings can move heaven and earth. It's very moving. Heaven has the virtue of cherishing life. This is the second reason." After Yikong heard this, he was secretly shocked. Just now, the heavenly lightning was rolling and the thunder was rumbling. His words in the living room were actually heard clearly by this person. This person's cultivation was unfathomably high. Third, Yikong said. As for the third reason, the person holding the umbrella said, although third brother was arrogant and unruly in the past and had a strong murderous aura, he was kind-hearted. Although he made a big mistake in a moment of impulse, he saved many people and accumulated some good karma. Because of his merits and demerits, and because of the 2 reasons I just mentioned, the heavenly lightning finally let your son go. However, the person holding the umbrella looked at Yikong. He wanted to say something, but stopped. "However what?" Yikong asked. "However, sir, in order to save your son, you sacrificed your life to protect him." The person holding the umbrella thought for a moment and said, "I've observed that your life has been reduced by 10 years. After Yikong heard this, he understood a little. Just now, after he made the vow, he suddenly felt his vision turn black. Then, everything returned to normal. It must be because heaven took away 10 years of his life. So be it. For the sake of my own flesh and blood, I don't mind losing 10 years of my life." He looked down at the infant in his arms and thought to himself. At this time, the infant in the swaddling clothes was still the same as before. He looked at Yikong with a smile, and even stretched out his chubby little hand to touch Yikong's face. If it wasn't for the vision just now, Yikong wouldn't have believed that the infant in front of him was so extraordinary. What surprised him even more was that the person holding the umbrella in front of him had a cultivation level that was far beyond his imagination. He could actually check one's life. However, he couldn't easily believe the words of the person holding the umbrella just because he had a high cultivation level. "Forgive me for being blunt," Yikong calmed down and said to the person holding the umbrella, "The concept of reincarnation is illusory. I'm just an ordinary person. I can't casually confirm that this child is your third brother's reincarnation just because you said so. If you want to say so, you need to show me convincing evidence." Moreover, Yikong said, "Your Excellency is wearing a mask and won't show your true face to others. You also won't reveal your identity. How can I know whether or not you're telling the truth?" I've said before, the person holding the umbrella said, "Knowing my identity won't bring any benefits to your Yi family. It might even bring trouble. The Yi family is open and aboveboard. Even if there's trouble, we'll deal with it ourselves. We won't implicate others. Yi Kong said to the person holding the umbrella, "Your Excellency, please show me your evidence and reveal your identity." Ha ha. The person holding the umbrella laughed loudly. People say that Yi Kong from a Yi family is flawless, eloquent, and a peerless genius. It's true. Well, since Mr. Yi said so, if I don't reveal my identity, I'll seem petty. As the person holding the umbrella spoke, he reached out and took off the ghost mask on his face. His face was delicate, his lips were red, his eyebrows were straight, and his eyes were bright and very sharp. "I'm Yi Chio," the person holding the umbrella said as he took out an item from his pocket and handed it to Yi Kong. "Mr. Yi, please take a look." Yi Kong took the item from the person holding the umbrella and was shocked. Jade leaf. The item in his hand was the Yi family's keepsake, the jade leaf. The item was a leaf that was delicately carved out of jade. The leaf was emerald green, the veins were straight, and the leaf network was delicate. There was an ancient seal word Yi on the back, simple and elegant. "So, it's the Yi family from the Central Plains. Sorry for the disrespect." Yi Kong quickly returned the item in his hand to the person holding the umbrella. The Yi family was definitely not simple. It was a very old family. The Yi family had been practicing medicine for generations, saving the dying and helping the injured. They were known as the deadly king of hell, the life-saving Yi Fong. It was obvious that the Yi family's medical skills were very high. Since ancient times, there had always been Yi family members who served as imperial physicians in the palace. What was even more shocking was that those who served as imperial physicians were usually people with mediocre medical skills. The true medical experts of the Yi family never bothered to serve the nobles in the palace. Instead, they generously provided medicine to the working masses and helped them. The Tianyi Hall of the Yi family was famous all over the world. There was no one who didn't know about it. Almost all of the top medical experts of the Yi family were gathered in the Tianyi Hall. In the Yi family, the person with the best medical skills would be appointed as the master of the Tianyi Hall. He could freely flip through the unique medical books in the Tianyi Hall. Like the Yi family attached great importance to virtue. Even if a person without virtue had the art of rejuvenation, he or she would be expelled from the Yi family. His or her Yi status would be revoked, and he or she would not be buried in the ancestral grave after death. However, the difference between the Yi family and the Yi family was that in addition to virtue, the Yi family's medical skills were passed down regardless of gender. As long as one was a member of the Yi family, they could learn medical skills. It didn't matter if you were a 10-year-old child or an 80-year-old man. As long as you had the best medical skills and good medical ethics, you would be elected as the master of the Tianyi Hall. However, although the Tianyi Hall was famous, it also had the rule of 3 doctors and 3 non-doctors. The 3 doctors. The poor commoners should be treated. Commoners often didn't have the money to see a doctor. When they came to the Tianyi Hall, they didn't have to worry about this. The Tianyi Hall would provide free medical services and prescribe medicine for free. Those who serve the country and the people, those who are loyal and filial, should be treated. If a loyal person, a person who loved the people, or a filial person fell seriously ill, the Tianyi Hall would take the initiative to send someone to treat him or her. They would do their best to treat him or her. Those who turn over a new leaf should be treated. People weren't saints, and everyone made mistakes. It was the most important thing to know one's mistakes and change for the better. Even if you were a devil who killed without blinking an eye, as long as you turn over a new leaf, the Tianyi Hall would not stand by and do nothing. As long as it was an evil person, even if you brought a mountain of gold here, the Heavenly Medicine Building wouldn't even let you enter. As long as you were an evil person, even if you brought a mountain of gold here, the Heavenly Medicine Building wouldn't even let you enter. As long as you were an evil person, even if you brought a mountain of gold here, the Heavenly Medicine Building wouldn't let you enter. Disloyal, unjust, and unfilial people, the Heavenly Medicine Building wouldn't even look at you and would directly kick you out of the building. Despicable and vile people. The heavenly medicine building hated those who sowed discord and were insidious and cunning the most. After taking charge of the Tiani Hall, the Hallmaster would receive the Hall's token, the jade root, which was a carved jade tree root. The Tiani Hall elders' tokens were the jade body, which was a few carved jade tree trunks. The Yi family outside the Tiani Hall had Yu Ji and Yu Yi. Yu Ji was the elder, and Yu Yi was the younger generation. If all these tokens were gathered together, it would be a luxuriant and auspicious treasure tree. It was said that there was a shocking secret hidden in the treasure tree, but no one knew what the secret was. In short, the Yi family was also a mysterious family. Now that he saw the Yi family's jade leaf token, Yi Kong felt relieved. The Yi family valued morality the most, so what this person said should be true. As for the proof that your son is the reincarnation of my third brother, it's even simpler, the Umbrella Man said. You can check your son's back to see if there is a mark of a crescent moon. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.